If you know us, then you know we're all about sports. We're The Game, 7:30 a.m. Welcome to the Sparrow Stout on Sports on Lansing Sports Station, The Game, 7:30 a.m. Starring the Dean of Mid-Michigan Sports, Tim Stout. The Sparrow Stout on Sports is Michigan's longest-running sports radio show. From the high schools to the colleges and the pros, Tim has you covered. Give Tim a call on the Culligan Water Hotline at 517-300-4263 or send him an email at tim.stout@wilx.com. Now, celebrating over 30 years on the radio in mid-Michigan and member of the Michigan Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, here's the Dean himself, Tim Stout.
On behalf of our partner, Shaheen Chevy Cadillac, good morning, everybody. Thursday, October 17th, 2024. That's our day today, and welcome to another edition of the Sparrow Stout on Sports here on Lansing Sports Station. This is The Game, 7:30 a.m. It's the home of the local sports shows and programming in the area, coming to you live daily from the Driven Collision Studios right here at WVFN Radio. You'll find Driven Collision at 3200 West Main Street in Lansing, where you get a loaner while yours is being repaired if you need it. You get Driven Collision to do the work with the insurance companies, and for an appointment, 977-0955. Brock's here. I'm Tim. It was like 41 degrees driving in today, but a beautiful day. No wind. It will warm up. It's going to be close to 70 Friday and Saturday. Great weather on the weekend for the high school football games tomorrow night. Michigan State, Iowa Saturday night, and then a terrific day to be outdoors doing whatever you want to do before, winter gets here on Sunday. So good weather ahead here in the mid-Michigan area. We'll have Pure Green Smith 3, breaking sports moments along the way today. You know, Pure Green Smith 3, the number is 703-1111. It's lawn aeration season. Let them do that for you at this time of the year. We'll have Quality Dairy stats. Quality Dairy is in its 89th great year, okay? Get the QD mobile app. That's really helpful in a variety of ways. It's cider and donut season. Nobody has cider and donuts like Quality Dairy has, and it's been that way for years. We have a busy, Thursday's always a busy day. One of our callers today will get a pair of tickets to the Michigan State-Iowa game. If we draw your name, we'll call you, so you don't have to be listening at the end of the show when Brock draws. And we'll give away another pair tomorrow during our Michigan State-Iowa You Pick'em show coming up tomorrow. We'll take your calls and comments on the Culligan Water Hotline at 300-4263. Our email address, tim.stout@wilx.com. And away we go on a busy day here on the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports. I told Brock on 9 years ago today, October 17, 2015, he has trouble with a snap. That was Sean McCullough's call at the end of the Michigan State at Michigan football game, which the Wolverines thought they absolutely had as a lockup win with 10 seconds to go. And as Jalen Watts-Jackson went into Michigan State lore on the one play off of trouble with a snap, and Michigan State pulled out that game in Ann Arbor. I told Brock, I said, if I was anywhere in the Michigan football family, I never would have got over that. Never would have got over it. I remember where I was and what I was doing. Doc went outside, said this game's over, State lost, and I went outside a few seconds later and said, not so fast, my friend. Michigan had trouble with a snap. Where's that punter today? He was Australian.
Blake O'Neill, yeah.
He was Australian.
Yeah, he dropped the ball, and then he freaked out. And, well, you saw what happened.
The renewal of the rivalry is next week, next Saturday night. So next week is Michigan State week. Will both teams be coming off two impressive quasi-upset wins? Will they come off losses? Will that be mixed? Who knows? And my sense is, no matter what happens this weekend, the line for Michigan State a week from Saturday will be close. It'll be a close line. Both teams legitimately thinking they can win the game, right? Both teams thinking we need to win the game to salvage some of the season, but if nothing else, we beat our rival. And Michigan State is a rival of Michigan in football.
Yep.
It is a rival. No matter what the protest stations are, may not be all. I mean, it's a rival if they lose. But if they win, then they get right past that. Let's look forward to Ohio State. And by the way, Michigan beat Michigan State this year because you're not beating Ohio State this year.
No,
that's not going to happen.
Said that before, after the first couple of games.
For the first time that I can remember in the history of the sponsors, you pick them coming up in about 15 minutes. 3 of the 4 games that I handicap are pick 'em games. I have 3 pick'em games out of the 4 that are, to me, that are that big a toss-up. Brock and I have already made our picks. The standings with the boys are very close, as you might expect. And I also do it, of course, in in our TV office as well. That's a little more pronounced because we don't use what I come up with on the air. But we'll see. The high school football, we're down to the final 8 days of the regular season. 1 week from tomorrow night are the 9th and final games of the regular season. And one reason to me it seems like it's gone fast is because the weather's been good.
For the most part, yes.
It's going to be good. And let me just check, because I got my little weather thing here. Let me just see a week from tomorrow what it is for your game 9. What the weather shows me on my iPhone here for this area. And I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to get him a week from... It shows sunny and 61. You're not going to have any weather delays during the regular season. And it shows here for Saturday, for the Michigan State game, a high of 66 degrees and cloudy. Well, by the time they play at 7:30, it doesn't matter whether it's clear or cloudy. It's dark anyway. So it looks like the weather will be decent for next weekend as well, the final week. And then a week from Sunday, it's no longer going to be Bally Sports Detroit, FanDuel Sports.
Yeah, it was announced yesterday.
FanDuel Sports, no more Bally. It appears it's going to be called Fan. They've had a lot of names for that
FanDuel TV, yeah, I guess that's what it's going to be called.
So there's that. So the boys tomorrow, I had a pretty good prediction this morning. But Brock was going through some of the high school football records because we're now 9 days away from the pairings for the 256 teams in the state tournament.
And in typical Tim fashion, you go right to the bottom of the standings.
So I said to Brock, I wonder how many football schools in Michigan this season so far have not won a game.
Now, this is 11 player. I did not check
11 player, just 11 player.
Yep.
And I said, I will guess 32, and the number's 34.
34.
So I'm kind of proud of that. And the one game that we're going to keep an eye on, frankly, tomorrow night, because both of them need a win, and they never report their scores anyway. So we won't know for a month. That's an exaggeration.
Or it seems like it, but go on.
Is Lansing Eastern at Niles Brandywine tomorrow night. They're both 1-6, and they're both desperate for a win. And Niles Brandywine, though, is coming off a 40-20 win over Benton Harbor. I don't know if that will affect its performance tomorrow night. It's a good game to have scheduled because, as I always say, you need to schedule games non-conference against teams you can play against.
Non-conference, yeah.
And like Brock says, Eastern's one play from being 2-0 to start the year and is now 1-6.
They lost in week 2 to Benzie Central. They lost by a touch. Was it 26-20? Yeah, basically one score away from starting the year 2-0.
And they haven't won since then, but they got a shot, I would think, tomorrow night at Niles Brandywine. It's when Sam Vincent was, we were talking with him, he had his big symposium last night about what to do about improving Lansing high school sports, and he was a little bit chagrined when I told him, do you realize that in the last 115 football games, Lansing Eastern has 9 wins and 106 losses, and that's with a new football stadium of their own built a few years ago. Which is
nice, yeah.
And you
didn't even mention to him the baseball and softball struggles in the city of Lansing, which are numerous.
Well, football, when you're 9 and 106 in the last 14 years, that's tough. And
yes.
They likely are going to be a legitimate big underdog when they play their rivalry game next Friday against Sexton. Brock says that could be considered for broadcast.
Highly unlikely, but it is on our list potentially.
What's another 9th week game?
Everett at DeWitt.
I think Eastern Sexton's got a little more flavor.
This is by
the
Tim's
reason
standards.
I say that is because I think DeWitt will handle Everett, and you don't want, when you do games, don't you want close games? I don't think that'll be a close game. I just don't see it as a close game.
Okay. Well, it's for the CAAC Blue title, so I think it means a little bit
Providing
more.
Everett wins.
Providing Everett wins tomorrow.
Wins tomorrow night. The
game
So the game we're doing tomorrow night is Lansing Sexton at Portland. Now, that one I do have handicapped because I've got Portland as a legitimate favorite in that game. But if Sexton wins that game, Brock, that kind of sets Sexton up to make the playoffs, right? That would be a high-quality
right
win.
Now. That would be yes, and one of the big upsets of the year.
Brock says the longest losing streak is 30 in the state of Michigan.
Grand Rapids, Ottawa Hills.
They've lost 30. That's the longest losing streak.
Active
in the state of Michigan. So, but there are 30 34 teams, 11-man football looking for their first win. They got 2 more weeks to do it. They got tomorrow night, and then they got the next weekend, and then we get the playoff pairings a week from Sunday night.
I heard that the show's going to be at 4:30 on FanDuel TV.
Is that what it?
I heard it's 4:30. Usually it's at 6 or 7 o'clock, but I think it's 4:30 this year.
Well, I mean, the one reason they did that was to get it away from the NFL telecasts, okay?
But the Lions will be done by 4 o'clock because they're playing at 1 o'clock next Sunday against Tennessee.
That's next week, and this is this week,
True.
and so there we go. What else we got for you this morning in a variety of different ways?
Well, I did see the pictures of the historic Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas. Good seats were still available last night to see UTEP win their first game of the season.
And they had lost 9 straight. They had the second longest losing streak in Division I football, and they beat Florida International last night 30-21. I only know it because and I bet I saw maybe 6 batters from the Mets game, but I saw Ohtani's home run that bounced off an airplane landing at LaGuardia and came down. And they had to replay that thing. They had to check it to see if it was foul or not because it went so high they couldn't tell whether or not it was fair or
Ohtani's
foul.
home run. Oh, man, that was a bomb.
And so of the Dodgers' 2 wins of the 3, they've won 9-0 and 8-0. But you only get count for 1 win in each, so they lead
That's
2
right.
games to 1. However, I would suggest to the Mets, if you're going to have a shot in this thing, you're going to have to win Game 4.
Oh, yeah. Win Game 4, and you still got a chance to win. But if you lose Game 4, you're in serious trouble.
So the Yankees are what? They're home tonight.
They're in Cleveland.
That's right. They're in Cleveland
this
tonight.
afternoon, 5:08 first pitch.
5:08 first pitch. Yankees at Cleveland. The Yankees lead 2-0 in that series. So we're getting closer to the World Series. It looked a little crispy cool the last 2 nights in New York. That's the first time through the playoffs now I've seen people bundled up because we're at that time of the year where it gets, obviously, on the East Coast, it gets cooler at night. Red Wings play tonight. Do we have that game? The Red Wings are on WJIM AM 1240 tonight. They're home with the Rangers. It's the second of a 2-game set. Monday night they played in New York, and the Red Wings lost 4-1. The Red Wings are now 1-2 on the season, so this is Game 4 coming up tonight. That's 7 o'clock. Is that what it is on FanDuel?
7:30, 7:15 pregame. No, that's here on VFN. Actually, I think it's a national broadcast. I saw John Keating tweet that you can only find it on the internet. It's not on still technically Bally Sports tonight.
And what else do we have? I got between yesterday and this morning, I can't believe the amount of feed. I knew we were going to get it because we got it right away.
And it's up on the podcast, too. Just go to the game730am.com and just click on it.
We got a lot of feedback on Henry Nelson's 102nd birthday presentation yesterday of the Spartan Fight song with his piccolo through the phone. And on the air, I'm telling Brock, you can't believe the feedback that we got on that. Where do I hear it? Or I did hear it. Mom heard that in Sarasota.
Nice.
She said I tuned it in and heard it. She said, he's kind of remarkable, isn't he? I said, yeah, you think?
102.
She said,
God love him.
I said, you think? I said, take some notes from him, will you? So that when you get to be 102, that you can kind of do some of the same things that he's doing right now. But, yeah, we heard a great deal about that as we got. All right, so we're giving away a pair of tickets today for Michigan State, Iowa. And we're also giving a pair of tickets tomorrow to Michigan State, Iowa. And they're good tickets, too.
They are.
They're on the side. They're
They
good
are.
tickets, all right? They're not, some tickets that somebody is not going to sell in any way, shape,
We
or
got
form.
the sponsors, you pick them. We got Geoff Kimmerly from the MHSA. Jim Comperoni says, Brock, let's move it to Friday. Izzo has a presser at 12:30. I will be en route.
Why would he have a presser today? They don't have a game.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Well, that frees up then hour number 3, and then tomorrow.
Unless you want to move him up.
I don't know how we can. Let's see. I can move
Like
him
11:25?
Let's see if we can move him up and move Kimmerly back. Let's do that. Kimmerly, I mean, he's got a rotating. We move him around everywhere.
We have, yeah.
We move him around constantly anyway. So see if at 11:05 we can get our Culligan MSU report, because tomorrow's a You Pick'em day, so we're always busy, and we got a couple other guests that are booked tomorrow as it is. So
I'll say 11:25. I don't want to move Kimmerly. I don't want to do Kimmerly.
I'd rather move Kimmerly. See if just tell him 11 o'clock hour. Is he available? Is he available during the 11 o'clock hour?
If not, we'll call you tomorrow.
So
you got to love on-air production meetings.
Well, what's surprising about Izzo doing a news last week I understood it because they're going to Northern Michigan, but they don't have another game till the 29th of October when they play Ferris State at home in an exhibition game, okay? But I guess it's basketball season more than what we thought.
Well, the Pistons start next week, and they won their last preseason game last night over Cleveland.
I'm not quite sure there's a lot that you can read into that one way or the other.
They finished 3-2 in the preseason. That's good for the Pistons.
So before I get to break, I brought this up at with the news staff yesterday, and I brought it up with Brock this morning. I said, you realize we are less than 3 weeks to the election, and do I speak for Americans everywhere that this cannot come fast enough to get it over with?
Yeah, I agree.
How many do I speak for? I mean, Doc cannot take and like we were saying yesterday. I said I got 6 pieces of mail yesterday in the mail. Every one of them was a direct mail, political.
Yep.
And do I speak for other Americans? At the moment you see those things, they just go right straight into the recycle bin.
I take a look at it.
Just go right straight to the I didn't even look at them.
Yeah, I take a look at it.
Just go right straight to the recycle bin. I mean, this thing cannot end fast enough. But nonetheless, is it possible that on Wednesday, November 6th, we could have a pure Green Smith Tree breaking moment, not necessarily sports, with the winner of the election? Is that possible? Yes. And the guys in the office said that could happen, that you could go through the night, overnight, Tuesday, November 5th on Election Day, and is it possible you could come on the air the next day on radio between 10 and 1, and someone is declared the winner of whatever, okay, wherever, however, and we would have to break that thing on the air and then live with the aftermath one way or the other. And boy, do I hope that does not happen. I mean, that's all I can tell you. I want to be a part of that like I want a hole in the head, is to be a part of that one way or the other. I hope it's not us. We'll see. Calling Water Hotline is 342-63. Away we go. Sponsors, you pick them coming up in a moment. We'll get the good picks. And for the first time, 3 of the 4 are pick 'em games because we got close games ahead this weekend, and this is the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports.
Now is a great time to start your holiday shopping at Meijer. Save big this week with our early holiday deals. Save $40 on a Gourmet air fryer. Save $30 when you buy a Keurig K-Slim single-serve coffee maker. And for the competitive ones on your gift list, select board games are 20% off. Shop even more great gift ideas like these in the Meijer Holiday Gift Guide. Available on Meijer.com, in-store, or in the Meijer app. Exclusions apply.
For everyone, enjoy golf this season at Michigan State's Forest Acres Golf Courses. 2 18-hole championship layouts, a state-of-the-art practice facility referred to as the Golf Center, 2 full-service golf shops, and a full complement of services. It's a big season. For information, call 355-1635 to get a tee time either on the east or the west and get a good chance to enjoy working on your game with a variety of friends. Michigan State's Forest Acres Golf Complex for you.
We all want more out of work and out of life. More top-line ideas, more bottom-line results, more support on the job to get us more time away from the job. To get more, it helps to have a trusted partner like Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan and Blue Care Network. It doesn't matter how big or small your business is. We help you stretch dollars and offer the healthcare coverage you want so you can focus on your job and life away from it. To see what Blue Cross can do for you, visit timeformore.com.
Mexican food like nowhere else. The Qdoba restaurants in our area, especially Okemos East Lansing and Clifford Street, Frandor, serving customized burritos, crave-worthy tacos, and so much more. You can order online, and there are many health-oriented options as well. Great for carry-out and catering. In Okemos, call 580-8121. Always popular, always tasty, with great service every day. Qdoba, for the Mexican taste sensation everyone enjoys every day in every way. You'll love the Mexican Qdoba restaurants.
This is the Lansing Sports Network Minute from the Lansing Sports Network News Desk.
I'm Steve Geoff. The Detroit Pistons hosted Cleveland last night, and Simone Fontecchio was only too happy to welcome them to town.
Drive, kick. Left side, Fontecchio 3, of course.
There's just 7-point play, right?
7 points on that trip for Simone Fontecchio. Bellissimo.
Thanks to the Pistons radio network for the call, Pistons finish the preseason atop the Central at 3-2 and begin their regular season next Wednesday at home against Indiana. The 21st-ranked MSU women's soccer team is in action tonight at DeMartin Stadium as they face Wisconsin at 7 in the first of their final 3 home games of the season. From the studios of the Lansing Sports Network, powered by Sparky's Electric, I'm Steve Geoff.
Find more and stay up to date at LansingSportsNetwork.com or in the Lansing Sports Network app.
Culver's in the Eastwood Town Center. You always mention Stout on Sports at that one location. You always get 10% off. Open 10:30 to 10. You can even call in advance to have your order delivered to you curbside right on time. No waiting in line at 374-1301. Okay? You'll love all the different options you have from Culver's, especially at this time of the year when you want to use the drive-through. Culver's has been red hot. Again, call in advance with your order at Culver's in the Eastwood Town Center, 374-1301. Bull Janitorial, the name to trust in the commercial cleaning industry around mid-Michigan. They offer a wide range of janitorial, custodial, and maintenance services. In addition to professional cleaning services, they also supply materials and equipment such as restroom supplies and more. There is not another commercial cleaning company you'll find that does it all for you like Bull Janitorial. They're open 24/7 when you need help. Call them 694-6642. Great employment opportunities at Bull Janitorial as well.
At Shaheen Cadillac of Lansing, you drive the future with luxury at your fingertips. Experience our lineup of eye-catching sedans and SUVs. Cadillac is the next generation of high-end technology where remarkable comfort and attention to detail change the way you drive. Meet with one of our product specialists today or begin your experience online at ShaheenCadillac.com.
Get this 2023 Cadillac XT5 for just $635 a month.
Relax and enjoy the Shaheen difference.
We've partnered for years with our official pizza, Cottage and Gourmet Pizza. You always get fast delivery and a variety of specials every day. Order online at cottagein.com. Convenient locations all over our area, especially East Lansing and Okemos. Cottage and Pizza offering a wide variety of gourmet pizzas, and you can build your own just the way you want. Handmade dough closes at 11:30 each night. Way to go, George Hoover, with the continued growth and success of our official pizza, Cottage and Gourmet Pizza. Lake Lansing Road Mobile, right across from the Eastwood Town Center. It's a beautiful day for a touch-free car wash. That'll save you 25 cents a gallon on the price of gas, and it's a touch-free, state-of-the-art wash, okay? They're service-based Monday through Friday to fix whatever ails your vehicle, in and out right away when you call 484-2300. Across the street, Eastwood Town Center, there's a Culver's by Walmart. When you order from that one Culver's, mention Stout on Sports, and they'll immediately discount the price of what you ordered by 10%.
The Game 730 AM studio is powered by Driven Collision. We make friends by accident.
Let me go from the Driven Collision Studios here at WVFN Radio. It's year 10 of our little sponsors. You pick them on Thursday mornings during the football season. It features Craig Prang of Culligan Water of Lansing, a great partner with us for years. Orlando Insurance and City Limits in Mason. That's Val Orlando. The boy, I make a spread for 4 games, and this is 3 out of 4 pick 'em games, Brock. That's never happened to my knowledge, to my memory before. But the boys are on the other end of our line. So,
and it's tight right now. Everybody's within, what, 2 games of each other?
Yeah, they're all at the moment. Val's the leader at the moment, and he's won over Brock. Brock's come from absolutely the dead heart of the basement.
Dead last. And see what a couple of good weeks do for you. Everybody's within 2 games of each other, so a long way to go.
2 games of the lead, which just means those picks, those point spreads are right on the money all the way around. Morning, boys.
Morning, Tim. Hey, good morning.
So, Val, tomorrow night after the Mason game, you understand what's going on at Mason High School tomorrow night, and it didn't get a lot of local publicity because it's not a game of 2 local teams. In the Associated Press Division III high school football poll this week, Mason is 6th at 6-1, hosting tomorrow night second-ranked Walled Lake Western, who is 7-0. And the only reason Walled Lake Western is not ranked number 1 is because DeWitt at 7-0 is number 1 in Division III. And, of course, DeWitt beat Mason handily by 5 touchdowns earlier in the season. Brock, can they play each other in the districts at all?
Mason and DeWitt? Yes, they could.
They did a year ago. But Walled Lake Western is a very good team, and the game's at Mason tomorrow night. Brock says, well, Mason wants to avenge the loss a year ago.
No, Walled Lake Western won. They lost to them
Walled
twice.
Lake Western wants to avenge that loss. And
2 losses.
So they've got a good team. So anyway, you got a big game tomorrow night. I mean, I'm hoping that the fan base that comes into city limits tomorrow night after the game is in a good mood.
Yeah, we got them already primed, Tim. We had a big 20th anniversary celebration, so we're getting the fan base ready for that big Friday night game. We had a lot of fun yesterday. All our locals and all our great customers came out and celebrated. So we got them all primed, Tim.
So it was a big day. What, the 20th anniversary of the entire city limits, or that location, or a combination? How'd that work out? And what was and how did it unfold yesterday?
Well, I mean, it's been our 20th year. The Orlando brothers and our partners and everybody took it over 20 years ago. And so, we had an official celebration, and we had some food and drink specials, and a lot of the locals and everything. We came out, we had giveaway prizes, much like you do on your show, and we gave away prizes every hour. And the staff, we had cakes and cookies, and we celebrated, and it was a good time. And a lot of those kids that have been coming for 20 years that are working for us now, they played football, they were cheerleaders. So it was a fun atmosphere.
Absolutely. Well, year number 21 is underway. Last week, guys, 3 of us went 3-1, and Craig went 2-2. So I don't know what kind of a mood he's in, but he was 2-2.
I'm just thinking I haven't even got on a roll yet, and I'm still within 2 games of all you guys.
Yeah, that's true. So, fellas, here we go. Of the 4 games, I have Iowa's a 6.5-point favorite. I have that as a pick'em game. Brock and I each took Michigan State, okay, as a pick'em game, which means we both think. It's not that I like State. I don't like Iowa.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I know. So when we get to the tailgate show,
Iowa's weird,
and somebody says, who are you picking to win? I'm going to answer that by saying, I'm picking against Iowa. If Iowa wins, I will not be shocked or surprised, but my point is I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced. If this game was at Iowa, Brock, I'd pick Iowa.
Well, yeah.
But it's not at Iowa. It's here. Michigan at Illinois, 3:30 p.m. Saturday on Channel 6. We differ here. I have Illinois winning at home. I think Illinois is pointed for this. And Michigan, you got to show me that you got 3 quarterbacks who started 6 games, and none of them have got you anything. I like Illinois. I think and I think Illinois could win this thing by, frankly, double digits, to be honest with you. But Brock's got Michigan. Our high school.
Call me a homer if you want.
Sexton is at Portland. That's our game. And it's not that I don't think Sexton's a decent team. They're 4-3, but Portland is a monster. And I have Sexton getting 17.5. And I took Sexton to cover that. Brock has Portland covering that. The Lions are at the Vikings, who are 5-0. Lions are, 4-1. And that's at 1 o'clock Sunday. Both of us have the Lions winning the game outright. I think the Lions can beat the Vikings without Aiden Hutchinson. They cannot beat the Vikings if they lose Jared Goff. Well, Jared Goff's healthy. And I think the Vikings are due to get beat. If I'm wrong, well, then I'm wrong. Okay?
Just add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
Well, everybody's wrong enough times. I just say, just add it to the list.
If I'm wrong, okay, there's a first time for everything.
No.
Okay.
People who have fell victim to the Dean curse know otherwise.
So, fellas, Michigan State, Iowa's a 6.5-point favorite in this game. Channel 10 has it.
Wait. Who's Brock taking in Detroit, Minnesota?
I'm taking the Lions.
Both of us have the Lions.
Oh. You both do, okay.
But I just think pardon?
You got trust issues with Iowa? Is that or do you know something we don't know that that a pick'em?
They won at Minnesota in prime time, 31-14, and that's a rivalry game. And I thought they were impressive that night. And and I thought, and then they only lost to Iowa State by a point, and Iowa State's undefeated and ranked. I said, well, that's kind of impressive too. But then I watched them go to Ohio State, and I thought this is a game I think Iowa can really hang in there.
Didn't they hang for a half?
It was 7-0 at halftime, and Iowa got the ball to start the second half and went a quick 3-and-out, got beat 35-7. I said, when you get these guys in a big game on the road, can they handle it offensively? Now, The difference is last year, Iowa won at home on special team, but, State was in complete disarray with an interim coach. And
that's where Noah Kim got hurt.
But Cade McNamara went out last year.
Oh, in the same game.
He went out, and Iowa couldn't move it a foot, but they didn't have to because their special teams got them enough points that they could win.
Didn't their defense score a touchdown,
too? McNamara is back. And he's made them better, and they're coming off a 40-16 win over Washington. If they'd have won that game at Washington, I don't know whether I would have picked them because I think it's tough to win 2 in a row on the road in a close game. But they won it in Iowa City. If nothing else, it shows that Washington could not handle beating Michigan and then going to Iowa and following it up. They couldn't do it. Those West teams, when they go 3 time zones into the Big Ten, man, they don't play the same way, and Washington showed that last week. But I don't trust Iowa. On the road, I don't trust them. You can. That doesn't mean it's going to happen that way. That doesn't mean State's going to win, and I wouldn't be shocked because Iowa has had its moments where it's playing, and I do think it's a defensive game. State's offense, I think, is going to have a hard time playing there, but I don't know if Iowa can score enough. But you guys can pick whoever you want.
Frankly, and I had this discussion with Craig, I thought you were going to go the other way and make it like 8.5, Michigan State, and you were going to jack that up. But you took MSU. You both took MSU as a pick'em, so I'm even more confused.
Well, that's why they play the game, okay? And it's very likely that the Michigan State-Michigan game next week, Brock, that could be a pick'em game as well. I got to see if Michigan can get a first down with a quarterback, okay, in a big game. Yeah. I got to see if they can get a first down with a third quarterback at Illinois. Depending on how they play there will influence. But that's next week, and this is this week. Val, who do you want, State or Iowa?
I'm going to take Iowa.
All right. Craig, you want State or Iowa?
Tim, I'm going to make this pretty simple for you. I'm taking everybody opposite of you.
All right. So you got, all right. Well, then in that case, you've got Michigan, you've got Portland covering 17.5, and you've got the Vikings. Okay. That took care of that. Okay. And so, Val, Michigan, Illinois, that's 3:30 p.m. Saturday on CBS. Michigan is a 2-point favorite. I have it as a pick'em game.
I am going to go with Illinois. I'm gonna go with you on this one. I don't know what that quarterback, what they can do.
Sexton 17.5, and they get 17.5 at Portland, 7:00. That's tomorrow night right here on WVFN.
I think Sexton can cover 17.5.
All right, that goes with me. Lions or Vikings at Minnesota, 1:00 on Fox Sunday afternoon.
Man, are they going to rally up there in Minnesota?
Well, they don't need to rally because they're undefeated. I mean, they don't need to rally. They just need to keep doing whatever it is they're doing. They've won every game they've played.
I'm going with Detroit. I'm taking some Kool-Aid and I'm taking Detroit.
Well, I mean, look, if you're the Vikings are favored. They're Brock, 2.5. Vikings are favored by 2.5, I think. But in the NFL, going undefeated is tough to do. And I just think Minnesota's due to get beat. They've made hay with this quarterback, Sam Darnold, and had J.J. McCarthy not gotten injured, Brock, who would be their starting quarterback? But because Darnold's been their guy, changing his location to Minnesota. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the Vikings defense is really good.
It's a lot better than it was 2 years ago. They've gradually improved it. And Darnold's the comeback plaplayer of the year?
The Vikings arguably might have the best receiver in all of football.
Oh, Justin Jefferson. He's terrific.
The Lions defense is going to have to slow him down. And that crowd will be, that crowd's going to be crazy. But, the Lions handled Dallas.
My pick after all that? You might be talking me into changing.
It's up to you. I mean, you can change till you get off. At any rate, what's new with either one? Either one of you have a thought before we go to break?
I'm out of thoughts. Craig's got it.
Yeah, I don't have much either, Tim. So this is a pretty quiet week leading up to the Michigan State game. I suppose we'll have a lot more to talk about next week.
Well, NBC's going to get crushed on Saturday night with the Michigan State-Iowa game because Georgia-Texas is up next to it. Do you boys have a thought on Georgia? Brock, do you have a thought on Georgia? Everybody likes Texas. Everybody loves Texas.
I'll take Texas in a close one, and I can't eliminate Georgia from winning the national championship despite 2 losses to Alabama and Florida, assuming they lose to Texas. I think they could. Go ahead.
The national guys were talking about that. They said Georgia, they just got to start quicker. Georgia, they got the pedigree, they got the players, but they get off to these slow starts, and they got to start quicker against Texas, you know what I mean, and maintain that.
Well, to me, it was remarkable the way they came back. I mean, to me, the best game of the year by far was Georgia and Alabama. I mean, they're down 28-0 on the road and came back and got the lead. But then Alabama made a remarkable play to win the game at the end. So we'll see. So
Alabama's at Tennessee, and the line's only, 2.5?
I think that's what it is, isn't it?
That sounds pretty close.
And both of them have struggled on offense. So, at any rate.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Have a great weekend. City Limits, happy birthday. 20 great years. 21 is on the way. Culligan Water of Lansing, anytime. It's always good. It's the most popular of its type all over the state of Michigan, certainly in the mid-Michigan area. We'll see how the fellas do. We'll see. Those are 3 pick'em games out of 4 set up this weekend. A quick break. Come back. Culligan Water Hotline, 342-63. And this is the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports. Tailgating season or any other special occasion, Tom's Food Centers in Okemos and Portland are ready to make it great for you. The entire family has created Tom's Food Centers, and they upgrade the stores with new renovations on a consistent basis. And it's also so convenient to get in and out right away 7 days a week. A lot of things on sale. The stores are fully stocked. They're neat, clean, sanitary. And for all those special occasions, you can dart in and out anytime, 7 days a week. Try them. Tom's Food Centers in Okemos and Portland. Of all the recommendations that I've ever given you on this program through the years, no one goes higher than the Munn team for real estate advice. John and Jan Munn work as hard as anyone in the business, trust me, and they truly are realtors who get results. John's cell phone, 881-6623. Jan's at 282-6781. And when they put the 1-2 whammy on a sale or to get you the best deal possible, you have the best people working for you. The Munn team, realtors who truly get results for anything real estate. Lake Lansing Road Mobile wants to give you peace of mind before the nasty cold weather arrives. And with 48 years in business locally, the Bracci family is an industry-leading mobile gasoline retailer. With auto repair, convenience store, and a touch-free car wash, they'll make sure your vehicle is ready. From tires, suspension, batteries, and tune-ups to belts, hoses, and that annoying check engine light. Lake Lansing Road Mobile at Lake Lansing Road and US 127. Call 484-2300. Prestige Wine Imports. Importers of a distinguished and diverse portfolio of high-quality Italian wines from the Italian Alps to Sicily. Well, they've now made their way to the mid-Michigan area, and the Sono Rosso and Mezza Corona wines are as popular as ever with mid-Michigan wine enthusiasts. You can find the Sono Rossos and Mezza Coronas at Dusty's Cellar in Okemos on Grand River Avenue. Ask Matt Rhodes about those, and maybe he'll give you a taste test. Or Horrocks on the west side. Sono Rosso and Mezza Corona wines, you'll love them. Custom-built design and renovation in Meridian Township in Michigan is ready to renovate your home, build you a deck, redo your bathroom, your kitchen, and you see those custom-built signs all over the mid-Michigan area. Call for a consultation at 881-9871. They have so many tremendous opportunities for you. If you're looking for a pro home remodeling contractor in our area, look no further than Custom Built. Contact them today for free estimates. What a great company for renovation. It's amazing to me the fabulous quality of Wash World in cleaning your vehicle. 2 locations in our area, Okemos and Jolly Road, and on the west side, I-96 at the MLK exit. State-of-the-art, full-service, free vacuum. Who offers that? $2 off on Wednesday, gift cards available, and you can get monthly and yearly wash subscriptions. You're in and out right away. Your vehicle looks great any time of the year. Make your car or truck look great at Wash World. The best in quality, the fastest service, believe me, in Okemos and Westside Lansing.
The Game, 7:30 a.m. Streaming the best and non-stop sports talk now for all of Lansing in the free Game 7:30 a.m. app. Tap in today.
On we go from the Driven Collision Studios here at WVFN Radio. If you did not know, Today is Michigan State Men's Basketball Media Day at the Breslin's. 3 hours, Brock. You get 3 hours. It's amazing the overlap of the seasons. We played half the college football schedule, but Michigan State basketball has already had its madness. We've had Big Ten Media Days. We've had the Northern Michigan University weekend, okay? And it's Media Day. Now, Spartans don't play again until October 29th, and that's an exhibition game with Ferris before the season starts in November. Usually, Bill Simonson of The Huge Show, who you hear here every day, 3 to 6, he has his show from the Breslin Center and features Michigan State basketball on Media Day, such is the case again today. He's in our area, and he's on the other end of our line. How many years have you done Michigan State basketball Media Day from the Breslin Center? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's been close to 14 or 15 years where I asked Tom and Matt Larson, who now is overseeing all media relations at MSU, I wanted to do something inside MSU basketball, so they put me in the film room. Michael Carey, Max, the current media relations guy with Tom, they set me up. The schedule looks completely awesome with the list of Coach Woj, I think Coach Kelly, Izzo naturally, 8 players in groups of 2. And I just kind of do a casual in their space, where they're comfortable. That's where they, break down all the game tape and team meetings. And it's really cool. Izzo's just great. And I can't wait to talk to him about last weekend. That Northern Michigan thing through the Big Ten Network coverage, through the social media coverage, it fit Tom Izzo to a T. It really did, about who he is at the core, what he's like as a person, his family, how much it means to him, his friends, the broadcast people who have supported him, also ripped him at times, and the players. And man, I even saw, did I see the MSU hockey coach, even one of the social network posts, flew up to watch the game up there?
Yeah,
did I see that?
Yeah, Adam Nightingale was a donor that had a plane, and he makes it available time to time. Nightingale went on the Spanish trip nearly 2 months ago with his wife when the basketball team went to Spain. Nightingale was on that. He and Tom are close. And so he flew up Sunday morning after they split with Boston College. Michigan State had won last Saturday night. And he flew up there, watched the game, and then flew back home afterward. I don't know who else was with him. But there are pictures, as you saw, of Nightingale on the floor prior to the game. I don't know whether Tom knew he was coming or not, but yes, he was there in the group. They told me that 55% of the 11,000 people there were Michigan State fans from either that part of the Upper Peninsula, northern Wisconsin, or from this area who had made the trip. So like you say, for an exhibition basketball game in the middle of October, it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and the Dome gave it a Final Four TV feel. And Izzo didn't, he wasn't going to go win that game. It wasn't playing at Michigan with Jason Richardson. He was just gonna do enough to win. Really paid tribute, and I think it defines. Like I said, I go back to what Izzo's all about. I really wish, and again, Coach Smith's doing a good job becoming available, but Tom Izzo is the blueprint for how a coach and a program should work with local, statewide, and national media. It really is. He connects. He's honest. There's access. Good and bad. There's been a lot of stuff that's hit the fan over the years at MSU and connected to the athletic department, to Tom, to sports. Nothing personal against him, but he's handled it all the right way. And I've always told him privately, every coach in every sport at the college level and maybe even in the pros should have a Tom Izzo blueprint on how to deal with the media.
How many stations along the huge network today will hear the show besides us?
The usual 19. Yeah, there's no Tigers. There's no, any conflict. And, I'll have the interviews 3 to 5. We have our Lomas Brown thing we got to run at 5, but then we'll finish with other sets of interviews. Then I do a replay. The deal I do with Tom is that, when I've always done this, that I'll replay it at a further day, different hours, so people, because everyone doesn't listen. They got things going on. They got kids. I'm really excited. I'm going to be pulling up here in about 15, 20 minutes. Just stopped off to grab a breakfast sandwich and love Lansing. And I really appreciate Tom Izzo, what he's done. I don't know how much longer he's going to be coaching. He doesn't seem like he's ready to leave. Some thought the trip up north was going to be a swan song send-off, and in so many words he said, no, it's not.
Do you do other media days of any other schools, teams, pros, colleges, whatever, other sports, or is it exclusive to this?
I've asked everybody, and John Beilein actually approached me when he was at Michigan and wanted to do what Tom does. Now, whether Tom told him or whether he just heard it, right? And then Juwan Howard told me my show wasn't big enough. Wow. Good luck, Juwan. Yeah, good luck, Juwan. That worked out well. You know what I did tell Juwan? I said I'll be there longer than you, and I was right. But Dusty May just had me back, and again, John Beilein comes on our show on Tuesdays because he's doing Big Ten Network and the basketball season, and I went down there, and Dusty it reminds me of Izzo 15 years ago. I think he's just a straight shooter. He was good. He has a really good staff. You know, the one thing about Tom that I'll say, and goes overlooked in a lot of sports, all the way down to high school. You can have that great head coach who's good with the media, but do you have a strong staff surrounding you? And Tom has always made sure his assistants either have worked their way up or that he has strong people to bounce stuff off of, and people can tell him, well, wait a minute, Tom, we shouldn't do that, or we should do this.
I don't know, Brock, I must be off base. I tell the Michigan State president all the time, if you have any trouble with Izzo, let me know, and we'll get him straightened out pronto. Maybe I must be off base with all that. You know what I mean? I
don't know what to tell you, Tim.
I must be off base. So, Bill...
You're not, Tim. You're not off base. You tell every coach what to do. You told Adam Nightingale to go to Northern Michigan to watch a game. You told Coach Smith to tell Childs to hold on to the darn football. That's it. You tell everybody everything.
So before you go, we do this little you pick 'em, and I handicap the games, and the games are never handicapped by me the way they are nationally. So I have 3 pick 'em games for this weekend. I have it pick 'em State and Iowa, pick 'em Michigan, Illinois, and pick 'em Lions, Minnesota. I took State to beat Iowa, Illinois to beat Michigan, and the Lions to win at Minnesota. Am I wrong on any of the 3 or all of them?
I like Illinois. I like Illinois on their number. I like Illinois to win. With Michigan's inconsistency on offense and how bad they're out of position on defense, how poorly coached they are, that I'm hearing about, we're going back to fundamentals. You had 9 months, or 8 months, give or take, 8 months to get ready for the season. You're Sharon Moore and that staff. You had spring ball. You have off-season workouts. You had fall camp. I don't need coach speak. It reminds me of Brady Hoke, Al Borges, Martindale, that secondary, that D-line. You know, I'm looking, they are so poorly coached right now. How can you – I'm trying to figure out that at the State game a week from Saturday night at the Big House, if Michigan, let's say they lose, I can see 24-10, 23-14, whenever they lose at Illinois, right? What's that line going to be at the Big House? And let's say State, God, Iowa looked pretty good. Tim Lester, the new offensive coordinator, my son Ace was he got invited to the lineman U camp with Ferentz and Iowa football into June. And I talked to Lester a lot standing there, and I think he's innovative. I thought it'd take a little time to adjust, but if you look at the Iowa offense, they're starting to put more points on the board. Yeah, they're going to run and be boring, but they're throwing on first down, play action. I think they're better offensively. They're not the same old, hey, this is going to be a 9-7 game. They didn't look good against Ohio State. I agree with you. I heard that earlier. I just Childs, you're going to go as your quarterback goes, and Michigan knows that better than anybody right now, is that, you know, Childs is going to need a special game for them to win. He's going to need a special game. So I do like Iowa minus the points right now. I think State has been through a gauntlet. I like what Coach Smith is doing. I like the upside of Childs and Marsh. But I'll go Iowa. I'll go Illinois. I'm taking the Lions on the road. Lions are the best team in the NFL. And I heard your high school pick. Portland is in Division IV. We could end up in the same region because Sexton takes another loss. We're the furthest east D4 school in Grand Rapids. We're 5-2. We got beat by number 3 West Catholic on a last-second field goal last Friday night, which still bothers me. And we were 8 in D4. I think we may be 10 in some polls. So we could end up Ionia, Portland. We need one more school. I don't know, maybe it's Hazlitt or something. We could go this way. We could go north because we got to stay away from Grand Rapids. That Hudsonville Unity Christian, number 1 team in the state, they just waxed us. They are so good. But I like Sexton though to cover the points. I think Sexton will play some defense.
All right, you'll hear the Huge Show 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock right here on WVFN live from Michigan State's Men's Basketball Media Day. You can hear the music. We're at the news hour. Thanks, Bill. Talk to you again soon. Appreciate
I love you guys, and I love Brock. Greatest producer in the world outside of Superfly.
There you go. Here are the news headlines. Hour number 2 coming up in just a moment. This is the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports.
Your Mid-Michigan radio home for Lions football is The Game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN, East Lansing.
A Town Square media station.
Yeah. Save big money on your door. Hope you stretched during that timeout. We're back for more sports. It's The Game, 7:30 a.m. I think I pulled a hammy. Welcome to the second hour of the Sparrow Stout on Sports, starring Tim Stout on The Game, 7:30 a.m. You can call the Dean on the Culligan Water Hotline at 517-300-4263 or drop him an email at tim.stout@wilx.com. Now, celebrating over 30 years on the radio in Lansing, here's the Dean of Mid-Michigan Sports, Tim Stout.
Hour number 2 this morning is brought to you by the 2 Wash World locations in our area. Matt Mattis says, hey, Okemos and Jolly Row, and I can tell you that place is rocking all the time. And I-96 at the MLK exit, okay? You're in and out right away. The best wash in the area. $2 off on Wednesdays. Gift cards available. Always free vacuum service and frequency discounts. Wash World, our number 2 hour sponsor here on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. We always appreciate it when Geoff Kimmerly, the Michigan High School Athletic Association, offers a few thoughts for us. High school sports, as I mentioned earlier, we are getting down to the end. Just 2 more games left in the regular season of high school football before the playoffs. Morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Okemos soccer and who else won? Somebody else won easily last night. Oh, Williamston. Okemos and Williamston won last night. And is it Mason DeWitt for the district title? Is that tonight? Is that when that is, if you know off the top of your head?
I don't know if it's tonight, but I'm looking at it as I speak because that's a pretty significant rematch. I think that was the CAC Cup final, the Gold Cup final, correct?
So it could be a rematch if I saw this all correct. These things are all running together anymore, and by the we're at the time of the year. And aren't the girls golf finals? Aren't they this weekend as well?
So we've got girls golf starts tomorrow and boys tennis, and to be honest, Upper Peninsula boys and girls cross country is Saturday. Yes, Hazlitt and DeWitt Mason and DeWitt play for a soccer district title at 6 o'clock tonight at Eastern. That was the CAC Gold Cup final matchup, won by Mason in a shootout. They had also defeated DeWitt 3-0 earlier in the year. So that's a pretty huge soccer game. Certainly one of the biggest in the state this weekend. And add that on to the rest of it. The last 2 weeks of football, all the golf, all the tennis, and some of the cross country. We got a lot going on.
So what is your assignment this weekend? Do you have a specific location or assignment you must fulfill given what's going on this weekend or not?
Sure. So right now I'm almost done with our tennis finals preview. Just trying to go through here and get some of the main points for people as they go into this weekend, and then I'll do the same thing for golf this afternoon. I think I might actually not make it to a football game this weekend for the first time this season, just because I have some other things that I need to have occupy my time. But Saturday I have people at all 4 golfs and all 4 tennises and the cross countries, and I will be in the headquarters here waiting for all of our stories to come in, all of our results to come in, our photos to come in, so I can put all that together and make that front page of MHSA.com, just really, really informative off a pretty big championship weekend.
Sunday, October 27th. That's a week from Sunday, okay? That's when the high school football pairings are announced, both 11-man and 8-man. And Brock is telling me there might be a different time for that program than what we're used to in the past. What time does that show air?
It will be 4:30 this year. It's a little bit earlier than usual, but it was the one way to get it on the primary channel for Bally's, Sports Detroit, because I believe, I'm not sure if they have Red Wings or if they have Pistons that night, but it was really important for us to be on the primary channel if possible. And so, I guess they have Red Wings that evening. So we moved it up a little bit, which, generally our coaches are happy about because they get more time to prepare. Every little minute counts at this point. And so we will be introducing all 288 teams and those matchups that afternoon.
And if the show's at 4:30, when are the pairings actually cemented that day? When are they finished up in advance of the program itself?
I would imagine we'll be done around 10:30, 10:45, something like that. It always depends on if there's something that's really hard to draw, and that can take some time because we do it kind of in a split session, and then we bring all of our people there and together and go through it again, and that can take a little bit of time if there's something we really want to make sure we get right. But usually we're done, no later than 11, and then the work starts on prepping and things like that. And honestly, John Ross has been prepping Bally's for a while, making sure they have all of our logos and making sure, we have all the correct nicknames and things like that so that we can plug and play those things when we know who's doing what.
Semifinal games are played on neutral sites, usually on artificial turf. Have those sites been determined yet? And if so or not, could any Lansing facilities be used for semifinal games?
We don't determine them until regional finals week. We usually get at least kind of a plan going into the weekend because obviously we want to put them somewhere as neutral as possible for whatever two teams might be playing. And then we'll solidify those by the end of the weekend. Absolutely. The more Lansing teams, especially with turf, that want to be part of this, the merrier for us. We did not really have turf fields in this area for a long, long time. And we always wanted them because obviously we're in the middle of the Lower Peninsula, and that's a big bonus when we're trying to bring teams together from all over the place. Now we have several fields. So on one hand, there are some schools who might be playing in semifinals, and they're not going to want to host necessarily. We might not hear from them for a few weeks into the playoffs. But, on the other, we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, right off the top of my head, fields that could be possibilities if they're so interested in having a game. The tough part with this, too, and we don't hold it against schools for sure if they don't, but, a lot of times teams are done earlier in the playoffs, so they don't make the playoffs. They have to keep the water on. They have to keep things looking good, things like that. And so sometimes they don't want to host, but we're certainly thankful and grateful when they do.
My sense is you probably were aware of it. As you know, Sam Vincent is the Grand Marshal of the Michigan State Homecoming Parade tomorrow night, and then he'll be at the game Saturday. So while he was in town last night, he hosted a forum at Eastern High School for anyone, and he picked out a number of former city high school athletes who excelled in their high school days. The angle being, what can we do to make Lansing City high school sports more competitive across the board? If you'd have been on that panel and they asked you for a thought, would you have had one in any way, shape, or form?
I think the thing, and I imagine this came up, a lot of people have, especially, in the 25 years I've been part of this community, a lot of people have really focused on beefing back up the youth programs in the city. I think that has happened. I've heard some really good things about what's going on with football at the younger ages, especially this year now that we have friends with kids and kids who are playing in those leagues. I think Lansing area football is doing well. when it comes to getting into middle school, things like that. But if you ask, people have told me over the years, it's all about making sure your middle school programs are thriving, making sure that your younger programs, there are opportunities there to get people involved. That's the challenge, because it's a matter of getting people going in these things early, and of course you can always start later and catch up, but it's building from the ground up. So I'm sure that was talked about. That would be the thing that I've heard the most about. I think that the city still has a pretty significant presence in a lot of sports. Obviously, we've seen a lot of success in basketball and football, and even this season, look at Everett football, and Sexton has a big game this weekend and things like that. And I think facilities is another thing. I think the fact that we still have great stadiums at Everett and Sexton, and now we have a beautiful stadium at Eastern that generates a lot of excitement within the community. And so they're headed in the right direction there as well.
Well, Everett and Sexton, it looks to me like they're going to finish with winning records. So that's 2 out of the 3 in football. Eastern has a ways to go, and that's well documented. Although Eastern's got a shot tomorrow night, they're 1-6, but they're at Niles Brandywine and they're 1-6. So we'll see how that goes. One other thing on the high school football playoffs. Of the 256 teams in the 11-man brackets, in 8 divisions, will this be another year where teams that are 3-6 and 4-5 be needed to fill out the field?
I think we could have some 4 and 5s for sure. Only because we have some teams that play in very, very competitive leagues, and this system is set up to award that. As of a week ago, in the Oakland Activities Association Red, which is one of the strongest leagues in the state, it's the league with Lake Orion and Oxford and Clarkston and West Bloomfield and Rochester Adams, there was a possibility for all 5 of them to share the league championship. It didn't turn out that way. Things unraveled the way they usually do over the last 2 weeks, or not unraveled, but sorted themselves out. And Oxford actually ended up being the champion, which is pretty cool, in its own right. But the playoff system certainly awards teams like those teams that play tough schedules. You look at Hazlitt, for example. They had, I believe, the biggest jump in the playoff point lists last week. They jumped up 12 spots in Division 4 after beating St. John's, because they're 4-3, but their 3 losses are to teams that are undefeated, and 6-1. So I do think some 5 and 4s for sure will be in the bracket. I think some 4 and 5s will be if they've played, the tough competition.
So we'll see how that goes. A week from Sunday, 4:30. Usually that's later, early on in the evening, but what they're going by FanDuel Sports, I guess, instead of Bally's. I don't know if that switch has been made official. Have they told you that it's going to be called FanDuel Sports moving forward?
Well, I saw the report in the Detroit News, and yeah, we've been involved in those conversations, sort of behind the curtain, just to keep an eye on what's going on. I think that's something that isn't going to happen until early next week. But yeah, I think it's going to be FDTV, and so we're obviously thankful to continue to have an opportunity to have our games on a statewide network that people are familiar with.
There you go. MHSAA.com is all things Michigan high school sports moving forward. Geoff, appreciate your time. Have a great weekend. Good luck with all that. We'll talk again next week and review some of the state championships and see how many, if any, we have champions from the mid-Michigan area. Talk to you then.
Yep, thanks, Tim. Take care.
Geoff Kimmerly of the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Before I go to break, I'm going to give you the daily Gillespie Group Sparrow Stout on Sports High School Salute. The Gillespie Group has begun its Join Our Team campaign. They've got career opportunities that you might fit and you might want to explore. Online, gillespie-group.com/careers or call 679-7364. He's had a tremendous year, not only on the football field, but as a hunter as well. The senior quarterback at Portland, whose team is undefeated, Dominic Novara. Brock says he had quite a day yesterday, right?
I was told that, it's bow hunting season in the state of Michigan right now, that he got a buck yesterday when he was out bow hunting after school.
and a delay doing your pregame interview because they had to dress the.
Yeah, they had to take care of the animal, and Dad, who happens to be the head coach, John Navarra, had to help him with it. Understandably so. I didn't ask how many points were on the buck. I'll have to ask him when I talk to him later today or tomorrow.
So Dominic Navarra, the senior quarterback,
he's had a great year on the field.
He's a very good student, and he's led Portland. He's not the only father-son quarterback head coach combo that we've had through the years in the mid-Michigan area. There have been several others as well, and all of them seem to have done well, and certainly Portland is 7-0. Dominic Navarra began the weekend kind of in the middle of the week, getting a buck last night during bow hunting season. I guess out in Portland there must be areas where there are.
Tim,
they come to our backyard. There's a million of them every morning.
Tim, driving around in town, I see them. But yeah, out in Portland, out in that area, I'm fairly familiar with that area. My mom's from Portland. She's a graduate. And they have lots of rural area out there.
From a view of the Lugnut Stadium to the downtown Lansing skyline, the Gillespie Group provides experience-based living options for you, surrounded by entertainment, shopping, and the Lansing River Trail. The GillespieGroup.com area, that's a way to view a property where you want to live, or call 679-7364. The Gillespie Group salutes this morning Portland veteran quarterback Dominic Navarra. He got a buck with his bow and arrow, and he's going after the team's 8th consecutive win. Portland home tomorrow night right here on WVFN at 7 o'clock, hosting Lansing Sexton. It's our Gillespie Group Daily Sparrow Stout on Sports High School Salute. We'll go to break, come back. Cullingwater hotline is 340-263, and our email address is tim.stout@wilx.com as we roll along here on the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports. Did you know that Michigan residents are missing out on a staggering $105 million every year? Yes, we are talking about Michiganders not returning their deposit containers, and we can do so much better in this state. So take them back. It's your beaches, your roads, and your dime. It's worth your time. Let's keep Michigan green and our wallets a little fuller. Don't let that $100 million end up in the landfills. The message from Schupan & Sons, a great company in Michigan dedicated to total recycling.
From quiet, cozy mornings and busy weekday dinners to fun family and friend gatherings, your home is your happy place. So when you find the perfect place to call home, Merck is here. With personalized mortgage solutions and competitive rates, Mercantile Bank lenders are with you every step of the way. Because at Mercantile, we're here to help you own it. To find a local lender and get a personalized rate quote that fits your budget, visit mercbank.com/mortgage. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you attending the Old Town Trick or Treat and Doggy Costume Contest next Friday, October 18th? This is Kirby Pruce from Pruce Pets, and we are proud to host the festivities again this year. You can participate with your dog or come out to observe the hilarious costumes, free of cost. Go trick-or-treating throughout Old Town with your dogs between 4 and 6 p.m., followed by the costume contest. Gather free giveaways and get great values from vendors like Doggy Daycare and Spa. Register online or in person at PrucePets.com.
This could be your favorite sports bar in Lansing. Arts Pub, Kalamazoo Street in Lansing, serving all 3 shifts. Downtown in Lansing, 977-1033 for questions or carryout. The menu is at artspublansing.com. Closes at 11 p.m. each day. Outdoor seating, serves great cocktails, no reservations needed. Mellow game day hangout, serving a wide menu of pub grub and pizza and a shuffleboard table. Greg Sinacropi has done a great job making Arts Pub spectacular downtown.
This is the Lansing Sports Network Minute from the Lansing Sports Network News Desk.
I'm Steve Geoff. The Detroit Pistons hosted Cleveland last night, and Simone Fontecchio was only too happy to welcome them to town.
Drive, kick, left side Fontecchio 3, of course.
There's just 7-point play, right?
7 points on that trip for Simone Fontecchio. Bellissimo.
Thanks to the Pistons radio network for the call. Pistons finish the preseason atop the Central at 3-2 and begin their regular season next Wednesday at home against Indiana. The 21st-ranked MSU women's soccer team is in action tonight at DeMartin Stadium as they face Wisconsin at 7 in the first of their final 3 home games of the season. From the studios of the Lansing Sports Network, powered by Sparky's Electric, I'm Steve Geoff.
Find more and stay up to date at LansingSportsNetwork.com. or in the Lansing Sports Network app.
Introducing a fresh new way to save with your Baker's points. Now you can choose between saving on fuel or saving on your next purchase with new Rewards Cash. You'll still earn points every time you shop at Baker's. Then when you're ready to redeem your points, you can choose to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump or redeem your points to save on your next purchase. It's a fresh new way to save. Your points, your choice. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Not available in all locations. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
For 65 great years, iDevelopment has been such a contributor to our community. What's the latest? Here's Nathaniel Ide to fill us in. Nathaniel?
Good morning, Tim. We're excited about a lot of things going on in the greater Lansing area. And whether you pick a quadrant, the north side, south side, east side, and west side, we're seeing small businesses grow. In retail at Hannah Plaza, we've got a number of new businesses. At Meridian Point near Trader Joe's, we have an expansion of our big Anchor Crunch. But whether it's retail, residential, commercial, office, we're here to fulfill the needs of small businesses, large corporations. We're here to help. Whether it's land development, whether it's build to suit, we're here to help the community grow, and we're here to help Greater Lansing grow. And that's what we're about.
That's what they're about for sure. For 65 years, one of the great companies in our state, the iDevelopment. You never know what time of year you're going to need the talented people and services of Doty Mechanical, 615 South Waverly in Lansing, one of the terrific service companies in our area through the years. Heating issues, cooling issues. You need a generator. You need plumbing help. All of that and more from the great technicians at Doty Mechanical. They carry the Carrier products. They're the exclusive distributor in the area. 327-7777, 327-7777. When you need that kind of help, call Doty Mechanical. The official printer of the Sparrow Stout on Sports, ASAP Printing at the Jolly Okemos Plaza. Plenty of parking in front. Call 349-7300. This is Ed Giles' 31st year with a company that has grown every single year. Posters and signs, they're a specialty, but even business cards or anything smaller is there for you. You want the most reliable printer? Take our word for it. You don't need to go bid anywhere else. ASAP Printing for you in the Jolly Okemos Strip Mall. The iconic Coral Gables Restaurant on Grand River Avenue in East Lansing, more than 90 years young with so many loyal customers, so pleased that Coral Gables has survived the pandemic and is bigger and better than ever. Catering, carry-out, employment opportunities, all of that at 337-1311. And the fish fries are spectacular on Friday night. When you've got some time to spare with friends and family, you know what the history's been like around that restaurant just east of the campus, Grand River Avenue. You'll always enjoy Coral Gables Restaurant, East Lansing. All right, don't forget as we roll on here, John and Jan Munn, realtors who get results, okay? You want the best in real estate help, okay? Then get the best. They'll help you with buying, selling, or just good advice. John's cell phone is 881-6623. You can get Jan at 282-6781. And don't forget, this time of the year, cookouts, tailgates, special occasions, Tom's Food Center's to the rescue. Quick, in-and-out convenient service from the entire family who created Tom's Food Centers to serve you in Okemos and Portland. Try them if you have not already.
From the Breslin Center to Little Caesars Arena, we've got the sports opinions that matter to you. From the Driven Collision Studios, we make friends by accident. On the Game, 7:30 a.m.
On the go from the Driven Collision Studios, so we're free up now because we're giving away a pair of good tickets to the Michigan State-Iowa game on Saturday night to one of our callers, and you can get us now on the Cullingwood Water hotline at 300-4263. Brock, amongst guests tomorrow at 11:05, longtime, now retired, 28-year Michigan State marching band director John Madden. He called yesterday because he heard Henry Nelson on the air on his 102nd birthday, playing his piccolo through the phone in the Michigan State fight song, and he lives in Savannah, Georgia now. And I was pleased.
I didn't know he moved down there. Maybe you told me and I forgot.
Several years ago.
Okay.
And as I put on social media yesterday, congrats to John Madden because he has just been named the artistic director for the Savannah, Georgia Wind Symphony Orchestra, okay?
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's 4 big concerts in that area a year. So we're going to get caught up with him tomorrow. He listens to the show a great deal of the time, belongs to a golf club in that area. The family.
He's not too far from where Lynn Henning is.
He said next time you're down to see Henning on Sea Island, we're 1 hour away. So
okay.
We all got to get together. And I said, yeah. And he did get damaged from Hurricane Helene.
Okay.
He not massive damage. He said not like, your oldest Tom and your sister got in Florida, but he said, yeah, we did get some damage that he had to make a claim on. And like he says, there are a lot of trees in this area that are down and so on. But he loves Savannah, and he's in that area. So I said, well, you know what, let's get caught up, and you can reminisce about those 28 years as the marching band. We always had great stories on the air, and he was responsible for a number of the M18 MSU Marching Band for Kids concerts. Through the years that combined with Sparrow, his successor David Thornton did 3 of them with us. And John got with us to take the MSU Marching Band 3 out of 4 years earlier in the 2000s to Charlevoix for the Venetian Festival Parade. That's how the MSU Marching Band for Kids concert got created. But at any rate, we'll get caught up with him. But he got that. He landed that. It's not completely a full-time employment, but it is employment. He was offered it, and he's decided that would be fun to do. So he is the artistic director, just named, for the Savannah, Georgia Wind Symphony Orchestra. Time now for our Innovair High School highlight, okay? We have the Gillespie Group Sparrow Stout on Sports High School Salute, and we have the Innovair High School highlight every day. Innovair is an award-winning store that sells the best in office furniture at 905 Southland Avenue in Lansing. It is the creation of Jim Baker. What I chose today is in line with the fact that Sam Vincent is in town as the Grand Marshal for tomorrow night's Michigan State Homecoming Parade. Okay, he's been on twice in the last week with us. And amongst all of Sam Vincent's achievements during his competitive basketball life, he is the very first winner back in 1981 of the Mr. Basketball Award. That award for the High School Basketball Player of the Year in Michigan began in 1981. There have been 44 winners of the Mr. Basketball Award. And he was succeeded in 1982 by his teammate, Robert Henderson, who went on to be a stand-up player at Michigan.
Yep.
So you wonder why Eastern was that good. In basketball in 1981 and 82, they had back-to-back Mr. Basketball winners. So I looked through the 44 winners, and boy, are there some names from the memory bank. You know who the third winner was?
Antoine Joubert.
Now, how would you know that? I mean, you're right.
I'm a sicko. You guys know, you folks know that. The people know.
Antoine Joubert, who used to have a few sparring matches with Scott Skiles when Michigan played Michigan State.
One of the great...
Come on, fat boy, show me what you got.
Well, the Judge Joubert, but the Detroit Southwestern had one of the greatest nicknames of all time in any sport, the Prospectors of Detroit Southwestern, which doesn't exist anymore.
Joubert was the third winner. Demetrius Gore, who went to Pitt out of Detroit Chadsey, was 1984. Glenn Rice, 1985. Terry Mills in 86.
All great players.
Mark Macon in 87.
Oh,
okay.
man. I actually delivered a pizza to him one time when I was delivering pizzas in the Detroit area when I was going to broadcasting school.
Matt Steginga.
Yeah,
1988 out of Grand Rapids South Christian, okay?
89.
Pig Miller from Benton Harbor went to Michigan State in 1990.
Benton Harbor, yeah.
Chris Webber in 1991, okay? John Garvalia, who was on some of Tom Izzo's very, very first teams.
Yep.
He was Mr. Basketball out of Southgate Aquinas in 1993.
Yep.
Robert Tractor Trailer.
The late Robert Trailer.
The late Robert Trailer in 1995 out of Detroit. Murray Wright went to Michigan. Among others, Shane Battier, who went to Duke 1997, okay, out of Detroit Country Day, Mr. Basketball in 1997.
One of the all-time greats ever at Duke, and then had a long career in the NBA, and he's been rumored to get into the political arena.
1998, Dane Fife out of Clarkston High School went to play for Bob Knight at Indiana.
He's back in the state of Indiana.
Saginaw Arthur Hill, 99, Jason Richardson, who went on to a wonderful NBA career out of Michigan State.
Just retired in the last couple of years.
2000, Marcus Taylor out of Lansing Waverly High School went on to Michigan. It's been 24 years since Marcus Taylor was named Mr. Basketball in the state of Michigan. Spartan Kelvin Torbert out of Flint Northwestern in 2001. Spartan Paul Davis in 2002 out of Rochester. Drew Neitzel in 2004 out of Wyoming Park. We'll never forget that semifinal tournament game that packed the Breslin Center.
Detroit Renaissance, and they had two, who was it? Malik Hairston and J.J. Crawford.
Went to Oregon, right?
One went to Kentucky, and I can't remember. Well, one of them went to Kentucky. I think one of them went to Oregon, or they may have transferred. But yeah, you were there, weren't you?
Oh, it was packed to the rafters.
That's awesome.
And his team got beat in a very close game.
But he had like 45.
I don't know. He scored 200 points, 300 points, something like that. 2009, Derek Nix out of Detroit Pershing went to Michigan State. 2010, Keith Appling out of Detroit Pershing, who is currently he's in prison.
He's in prison right now due to some crimes he was convicted of.
2012, Mr. Basketball out of Bay City Western, Matt Costello, who's made quite a career in Europe,
overseas,
right? Among the other. 2015, 1 year at Michigan State, to the chagrin, I would say, of Tom Izzo, that he lost him after his freshman year from Muskegon, Deontay Davis. I always wonder, had he have stayed, would his basketball career been different? 2016, out of UAD Jesuit, Cassius Winston, who went to
one of the all-time greats here.
2018, out of Clarkston, Foster Lawyer. That says state championship game he had for Clarkston when he scored, 44? I never saw a guy have a game where he shot like he shot at that game.
He barely missed in that game.
2021 from Detroit Douglas, Pierre Brooks started at state, transferred out, okay?
Valparaiso, isn't he?
And the standing Mr. Basketball who's going to Michigan, Darrell Brooks out of Grand Rapids Catholic Central. So I bring it up as our high school highlight, by Innovair this morning, because the first winner was Sam Vincent, who is in town this week and will be the Grand Marshal of the Michigan State Homecoming Parade, and that's tomorrow night. Innovair is your office furniture dealer, working to creatively build functional and inspiring interior designs for your office, your campus, or facility. A nationwide company right here in Lansing for you. You can visit at 905 Southland Avenue in Lansing, a proud Technion furniture dealer. Innovair is the industry's fastest growing company, your source for design, space planning, installation, and decommission, let its team visit your space to offer expert insights. You can call Innovair at 253-8718. Innovair today, saluting Sam Vincent, the very first Mr. Basketball winner for Lansing Eastern High School in 1981. Innovair, the creation of Jim Baker, proud of that company and the growth it has shown. And again, if you're interested, you can visit at 905 Southland Avenue in Lansing, or again, call 253-8718. So there's the Innovair Daily High School highlight that matches in a way the Gillespie Group, Sparrow Stout on Sports High School Salute. They're both different in a variety.
And that's the Hal Schramm Mr. Basketball.
Okay. I have some emails that are in here. Tim, the Eaton Rapids and Charlotte cross-country teams will deliver the game ball tomorrow. The teams will run together as they bring the game ball for tomorrow night's CAAC White Division matchup between Eaton Rapids and Charlotte. It's an annual event that is meant to bring sports schools and communities together in a fun-filled and bonding experience. And thanks for letting us know.
And that's for their version of the Little Brown Jug. They have their own version. There's a lot of Little Brown Jugs out there. It's their version of it.
Tim, haven't heard it mentioned on your show this week, but did you have any thoughts on Kirby Smart's Little Woody Hayes moment last weekend? Did you see what he did? Did you see
he made contact with somebody? What happened?
The Georgia coach, he didn't slug the guy like Woody Hayes did.
Well, if he'd have done that, he might have got fired.
But he did get rough with him and shoved him really hard, he says, for no apparent reason. Now, Kirby Smart phoned him and apologized. Everybody seems to have moved on.
Okay.
He says, I was surprised that was not made into a bigger deal given all the drunk driving issues at Georgia, too. Kirby seems to be getting a free pass on all this stuff.
Okay.
Maybe because he toes the NCAA line and everyone seems to like him. Well, you know what they like at Georgia? They like the fact that they win. If that changes, then who knows how his standing would be. They got a big one coming up against Texas.
Texas, yeah.
And I think he did kick one of his defensive backs the other week off the team. I think there's a defensive back from Georgia that
had some issues.
I don't know what the issue was, and I don't know how much the guy played, but I do think there's one guy they got rid of. Now, if you missed this is another classic too. All these guys that are trying. All these schools are trying to find ways to increase their revenue. I mentioned earlier this week, Michigan is going to survey its ticket holders to see what they think about advertising in the big house for home football games. Why would they care? I like what Southern Cal's doing to raise revenue. For $1,450, and I don't know why that's the figure that was chosen, you can run out of the tunnel of a home football game at the Los Angeles Coliseum with the Southern Cal Trojans as they take the field, and you can wear any apparel of either Southern Cal or the other team. As one guy who spent the money this last Saturday, paid the $1,450, and ran out wearing all of his Penn State apparel with the Southern Cal team onto the field. That'll be $1,450. Thank you very much. That's come to that to raise revenue for some of these colleges to pay the bills.
More to come.
Now, the moment somebody else
more to come.
sees that Southern Cal's doing that, we could do that. Now, whether the price is going to fluctuate, I mean, it's hard for me to believe that either Michigan or Ohio State would allow you to run out with the team wearing the other school's apparel.
Agreed.
I can see him doing it wearing our apparel.
Make sure they're right.
So so let's say Ohio State or Michigan said you can run out with the team on, and I don't know what else you get with that, but if you put some kind of a deal together, how much could they charge? And for that matter, can you do more than one that runs out with a team on the field, and you get a discount if you're not the sole one to run out on the field? I don't know who came up with the idea, but Southern Cal is doing it this fall, and a guy in Penn State garb ran out with a team on the field at the Coliseum to start the Penn State-Southern Cal game. And he wore his Penn State stuff, and Southern Cal didn't care. They got their money. So for $1,450, that's what they were willing to do. Now, at 4:45 Saturday, Brock, during the tailgate show, Geoff doesn't know this yet, that Kevin Guskowitz, the Michigan State president, he's visiting with us. He comes to all the home sites.
Yeah.
So amongst the things to ask him, it's apparent Michigan State is not happy with all these night games. So,
didn't Alan Heller have a press conference saying the same thing?
Well, he says he's called the Big Ten, according to the Detroit News, and said enough's enough, but I don't know how much influence he has. I mean, the Big Ten can go suggest to them.
Sure.
So the question of the president, do you have any influence whatsoever in any way, shape, or form? But this is going to continue in the future.
Sure it is.
Do you have a reaction to all that? The other thing is, would Michigan State be willing to offer some kind of a charge to help raise revenue for the athletic department by letting people run out of the tunnel with the Michigan State team? And what would that be valued at? If you wanted to offer that, what would the price be that would draw interest from those crazy enough willing to pay it and to do it? That's amongst the questions he'll get from us, because we always enjoy when he stops by. To break we go and back we come. Culligan Water Hotline 342-63. What say you? One of you is going to get a good pair of tickets at the end of the show today on your call for the Michigan State-Iowa game on Saturday night. This is the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports.
Here's what's on tap today here on the game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN. Coming up, we've got at 1 o'clock, it's ESPN Radio. Then at 3, a full 3 hours of the huge show. It's Bills. MSU basketball all access show. He'll have lots of interviews. You want to be listening to that. If you're a Spartan fan, we know there's lots of them out there for you. Here on WVFN at 7:30, it's the Denver Broncos at the New Orleans Saints, NFL Thursday Night Football. And then that's again at 7:30. And at 7:15 on 1240 WJIM, the back end of the home and home series, the Detroit Red Wings and the New York Rangers from Little Caesars Arena. 7:15 pregame, 7:30 puck to ice with Ken Cal and Paul Woods. That's what's on tap. The game, 7:30 a.m., WVFN.
One of the most popular restaurants in our area for years continues that way. Woody's Oasis on Trowbridge Road in East Lansing. As the saying goes, eat at Woody's, live longer with a Mediterranean cuisine. And now the menu has some wonderful new items they're all excited about. Chicken kafta, along with their Woody's burgers, gyros, fries, and a whole lot more. For all the information, the website, woodysoasis.com, or call 351-2280. Woody's. Eat at Woody's, Trowbridge Road, East Lansing, and live longer. Ozzy, the official jeweler of Sparrow Stout on Sports. Kitty corner from the Frandor Shopping Center with such convenient parking. But maybe you need some consultation. You can call Brooke Humble and the staff anytime at 332-7900. Every day is a special day at Ozzy Jewelers, the best jewelry store anywhere we say in Michigan, let alone the mid-Michigan area. The number again, 332-7900. For that special occasion at any time, Ozzy Jewelers to the rescue for you. The Lansing Sports Commission is your resource for sports tournament and event planning in Michigan's capital region. As a full-service sports commission, they work with you on every aspect of your event, as dedicated to its success as you are. Greater Lansing, so convenient to reach and easy to navigate. The region is full of well-equipped lodging, first-rate athletic venues, entertainment options for the team, and so much more. No matter the size of your event or the sport you're coming to play, you check it all out with the Lansing Sports Commission for your next great event. It's another big sports season at Smoke and Pig Barbecue on Elmwood Drive right across from the Lansing Mall. They've added NFL Sunday ticket at the bar. You can watch all the NFL games, certainly the college games, on Saturdays. Open at 11 a.m. each day. Catering is spectacular. Questions at Smoke and Pig, call 582-5100. Their smoked barbecue menu is packed full of all the smoky classics, from pulled pork to ribs to spicy rib tips, and they have Lansing's barbecue favorites. Smoke and Pig Barbecue. Enjoy the sports seasons.
Shop low prices and great deals all week long at Meijer. Buy 5 or more and save $5 or more on hundreds of items across the store, like General Mills cereal, Swanson broth, and 12 packs of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products. Plus, shop our huge selection of Halloween items for spooky good savings. Get 25% off Halloween costumes and buy 2, get 1 free Halloween snack or jumbo-sized candy. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
We sit excited on the bus, the sidelines, courtside, in dugouts, waiting for our shot, driven by greatness. For decades, Dean Trailways has delivered athletes safely to their battlegrounds, not as a spectator, but as a teammate. Much more than a job, a true calling with all the purpose and performance that champions possess. Join the Dean team today and experience what it means to be driven by greatness. Go team, go Dean. DeanJobs.com.
One of the great success stories I've seen in Lansing business through the years is the growth of Desmond Ferguson's Moneyball Sportswear, founded in 2002. The former standout area basketball player already has a gorgeous store in the Meridian Mall, and his new headquarters location now at 927 West Saginaw in Lansing, it's up and running. Moneyball outfits hundreds of athletic teams worldwide, and its athletic leisure wear draws rave reviews. If you have questions, call 393-0763. You're a winner when you outfit your team or yourself in Moneyball Sportswear. Way to go, Desmond Ferguson. Moneyball, the only way to ball. Well, let's see. What's a good place for a lunch, okay? Oh, man, Thursday, that means 20% off the burgers on Sparty's, Coney Island, and Friend are open till 2 o'clock, okay? Thursdays, burgers, 20% off. Tell Dominic behind the counter that we sent you. And don't forget Smoke and Pig Barbecue across from the Lansing Mall. They have NFL Sunday ticket in the bar, so all the NFL games are available for you, and plenty of them in the college games on Saturday. Smoke and Pig Barbecue across from the Lansing Mall.
Sports, opinions, and you. The station Lansing turns to for sports. The game, 7:30 a.m.
On we go from the Driven Collision Studios here at WVFN Radio. Culligan Water Hotline is 340-263. In the next hour and 6 minutes or so, one of you will get a pair of tickets. Good seats, too, for the Michigan State-Iowa game Saturday night. Weather's going to be good, right around 68 degrees, Andy says, at kickoff, and not getting any lower than about 60 degrees through the evening on Saturday night at Spartan Stadium. Excuse me. As we roll on here, am I correct in saying, Brock, that of the American League Central Division teams, at least 2 of them are for sale? The Pohlad family is trying to get rid of the Minnesota Twins.
They've owned that for 40 years.
And now yesterday, Jerry Reinsdorf, who has the Bulls too as well, he's exploring ways to get rid of the Chicago White Sox. I bring it up for this reason. Are those guys getting out of Major League Baseball because they think the value of the franchises could diminish moving forward? Or is it partly that and partly because they've held it so long and they're aging and it's time to turn it over to someone else? And toward that end, could they end up keeping them if they don't think they are going to get what they consider to be fair market value? And I have no idea, legitimately moving forward, what the value of Major League Baseball franchises are worth top to bottom. I think that's very hard to discern. I said to Brock,
well, they don't tell us.
So we have ESPN television on the wall in here, obviously without the sound, and it's amazing to us, even during the playoff. Last night you had an LA team and a New York team playing a playoff game, and everything on ESPN, everything on all of their yak shows and everything else in the morning is about the NFL. They absolutely ignore Major League Baseball.
For the most part. The WNBA
more
Finals
coverage.
Game, they are today.
They spend more time, and it's not much, on the WNBA playoffs than they do on Major League Baseball. And I'd be curious to know, is that coincidence, or did they say to themselves, if we're going to have any viewership this morning across America, it's got to be NFL related? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure they talked to. We've talked about this before of television consultants telling them, "Hey, you need to talk NFL and NBA." So that's what they do for the most part on First Take and shows like that.
I'd be curious to know what the reaction is from the Philadelphia Phillies players and the fans who watch the Mets get crushed twice by the Dodgers, 9-0 and 8-0, and say, how did we ever lose to these guys?
Yep.
The National League Championship Series should have been Philadelphia and the Dodgers.
And they're right, it should have been, but they couldn't, like you say, they couldn't handle it against the Mets.
And, I mean, now look, it was a full house last night at Citi Field in New York, all right? I mean, you got the Mets that are in the thing starting 0-1. So they were showing last night in the pregame show because they happened to stumble over it. Remember the Mets started 0-5, fire the manager, fire the players.
Because they were playing the Tigers.
Yeah. Guys are wearing bags over their heads in the stands.
And almost
the
were
Mets are terrible, blah, blah, blah. And these guys are in the National League Championship Series. But I don't know for how much longer.
The Dodgers are a better team than them.
And then they asked Ohtani, would he rather move down in the? I'm surprised they don't move him down in the order, because you got a lot of power that you're leading off with, and that home run he hit last night was a monster. I mean, hit
it into the fifth deck.
The classic is in the playoffs.
Third deck, whatever.
He's hitting 0-0-0 with nobody on base, but he's hitting a ton with players on base.
Yeah.
But the problem, if you walk him, it's like giving him a double because he's going to steal second base.
Which is why they don't do it. But you realize he almost went 60-60 this year? Yeah, people talk about 50-50, and that's unbelievable. He almost hit 60 home runs and stole 60 bases.
I don't know.
That's unreal.
So I watched him a little bit. I mean, and like I say on the screen, they put up there, he's the fourth guy in the order, third guy. So in other words, they're saying even though the game might be one side and you don't like and the Mets have no players other than that Lindor that you'd stop
Pete Alonso.
and say, yeah, but he's hitting 230. He's hitting 230 with 9,000 strikeouts. I mean, I don't really, with all due. Now he hit one home run that won them. That beat the Phillies, right?
Yeah, and he hit one that beat the Brewers. Yeah, it was the home run that beat the Brewers.
They were down. That's another team.
They were down
say,
to 2
the Brewers say, "My golly,
how did these guys away from winning?
How did these guys ever knock us out?"
Yeah,
but I mean, I guess that's baseball
because the Mets were the 6th seed out of 6 teams in the National League, and here they are in the LCS.
But yet now they won Game 2 in Los Angeles. So I mean,
it's not over.
If they won one game, can they win another game? I mean, I would suggest to them tonight. What time's the game today? Because there's 2 games today, right? Baseball's got 2 playoff games today. But ESPN
8:08. Dodgers at the New York Mets. Fox Sports 1, FS1. Not on regular Fox.
I mean, I'd be curious to know who puts these ESPN morning shows together. They absolutely ignore Major League Baseball. I mean, it's like it doesn't even exist. I mean, you got 2 playoff games. You got 2 New York teams involved. You got the L.A. team involved.
Yes.
So you got big market teams that are involved. And frankly, they spend daily hours on the Dallas Cowboys. They cannot get off the Dallas Cowboys. They just cannot get off them.
Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
And Aaron Rodgers. If it isn't the Cowboys and Aaron Rodgers, they don't know what to talk about. And I mean, it is kind of screwy that they – I mean, I don't know. And I'd be curious to know what their numbers must be in terms of the people who watch, because how long can you see the same thing over and over and over again? But we almost chuckle because we see it on the air all the time. We see, and college sports during the week, they don't get involved with it at all.
Not much.
They hardly ever get into anything collegiately in any way, shape, or form. But whatever. I mean, certainly it's the way of the world with ESPN, and they have massive changes that they continue to make in a variety of ways of doing what they do. They do have to be pleased, though, with their game day show because it has 3 times the audience this fall of what the Fox pregame show is, and I'm frankly not surprised by that because I think Fox is an outsider coming in trying to get it heavily involved the way ESPN is. And to me, the whole thing on here is who's got the best game. And by the way, is it ESPN's got Georgia and Texas on Saturday night?
I think that's ABC.
Oh, wait, I think you're right. I think it is ABC. That's Fowler and Herb Street, isn't it?
Yes.
Because NBC is frankly stuck with the Michigan State-Iowa game. One thing NBC's going to want, they're going to want better games than this in prime time moving in the future. I don't know how that's going to work out for them.
Because they're fighting with other networks, Tim. The other networks want the same game.
I mean, NBC's got a bad deal from the well, I mean, they got, and then Fox on a Friday night in prime time in late November's got Purdue, Michigan State. If you want to watch Purdue and Oregon, you can get them on Fox tomorrow night because Oregon's at Purdue tomorrow
Oregon's
night.
A 4-touchdown favorite, 28 points.
I said to Brock, how many years ago was it David Blau and Purdue stunned Ohio State in prime time in Purdue when Ohio State was a 1,000-touchdown favorite? And they blew them out that night.
Yeah.
Could that happen to Purdue tomorrow? Who knows? But that one's on tomorrow night, the Friday night Big Ten Fox game. Calling about our hotline, 342-63. Here are the news headlines. On to hour number 3 we go with the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports.
Why would you argue with people online about sports when you can argue live over the airwaves?
Cut the BS and let's get to the truth.
Sports and Sports Talk is on the Game, 7:30 a.m. Welcome to the third and final hour of the Sparrow Stout on Sports, starring Tim Stout on the Game, 7:30 a.m.
Hour number 3 this morning is brought to you by Capital Region International Airport. Okay, Breeze Airways is on. They're rolling. Lansing to Orlando and Fort Myers, and the ticket prices are very competitive. See for yourself. Apple Vacations beginning in January. 3 new nonstops from Lansing to the Caribbean. As we like to say, there's so many reasons why when you can do it, fly Lansing first. Dave Ellis stopped in to see us this morning on other business. I said, you might as well stop by in the studio. You knew this was the kind of studio that we had here. It's spacious. And by the way, this one's new. How long have we had this studio, Brock? 5 years now? Is that what it was from next door? How long have we had it?
It's been 5 or 6 years. It's since before COVID.
I mean, this is pretty glamorous, you got to admit.
That was like the old Step Outside to Change Your Mind studio, the old one, right?
I mean, it's
to a degree.
So it's a bizarre hockey schedule. So what? Windsor, Ontario is here at 6 o'clock tomorrow. This is purely an exhibition game, correct? I mean, is that good for State? I mean, I don't picture the fans getting into this weekend quite like last weekend,
well,
right?
It's better than not playing this weekend, knowing that you're going to be hitting the road, too. And let's say Canisius gave up, I think it was 15 goals in a weekend series against RPI. So let's just say that the Golden Griffins are not really the level that Boston College is. But the last thing you want this time of year after you come off a big series is to be off for 2 weeks. So at least getting a game in here is a good thing. They'll use the other exhibition game to play the under 18s because that's part of that. I think you get 2 a year only. So this is traditionally what Ron Mason would do. He'd play one of those Southern Ontario teams like Western Ontario or Wilfrid Laurier or Laurentian or Waterloo or Windsor was a big opponent to come in before. So it's nice for them. They can come up and get a game.
I mean, who does Windsor play? I mean, what did they? I mean, that's Canadian. I mean, it's right across the river from Detroit, so it's an easy bus ride. Blah blah blah. I mean, I imagine they get a couple dollars to come up here and play. Don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's a short trip for them. That's what they like, and they like the exposure for sure to play an NCAA team. But they're in that Ontario College Hockey League with some of the teams like I mentioned, and then York and Lakehead and a lot of those teams in there. Ontario is a very populated province for college hockey in Canada, which is not the biggest stage that they have by any stretch, but it's definitely one that gets a little bit of play over there. And the Lancers kind of get lost because the Spitfires take all the attention when you're on that side of the river. And clearly the Red Wings are going to be a big draw when you're in Windsor too. But the Lancers are a decent Canadian college program, and they'll come up and at least put a team on the ice and let you skate around with somebody that's got a different jersey on.
So, and then State goes to Canisius. That's the second year of the home and home. So what is that, 2 lopsided wins next weekend, one would think?
Yeah, knowing what the Griffs did against RPI, like I say, they don't have a ton of talent this year. They were ravaged by the portal, so they lost a couple of guys that way. They play actually in the Buffalo Sabres practice rink in downtown Buffalo. So I think you can fit maybe 1,700 people in there in the Harbor Center or something like that. So it will not be a huge draw. I would imagine if you're a Michigan State fan in Western New York, then I would hope you got your tickets early because there are not going to be a lot of seats available, not because it's a big draw, just because it's not a very big building.
So you heard me yakking about NBC Sports and that NBC Saturday night is going to get blitzed in its Saturday night Big Ten football. Michigan State, Iowa will get crushed by Georgia and Texas. But to your point, when NBC saw that was the competition, why are we going to go try to get the best Big Ten game, whatever that would be this weekend up against it? We'll just take our lumps and move on. Fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, remember, you've got 3 different networks that are fighting over first pick for the week. Some weeks Fox gets it, some weeks CBS gets it, and some weeks NBC gets it. If your prime game that you're going to play is the 7:30, which NBC is always going to be, they are in that slot, and that's their spot. Fox has got noon, CBS is 3:30. So if you're looking at, we're not going to put a 3:30 game on NBC. It just doesn't fit in their schedule the way that they do it. They don't have Notre Dame this weekend, but that's not something that they like to do, to take that late afternoon spot. And of course, the Big Ten doesn't want to do that either. You want to get in that rhythm of, all right, noon I'm watching Fox, 3:30 I'm watching CBS, and 7 o'clock I'm switching to NBC. So if you had the first pick this week, what game on that schedule is going to draw against Texas, Georgia? There just isn't one.
No, not in the Big Ten.
If you're NBC, this is a great week to not have the first pick. Just take it out of the equation.
Yeah, here are the other games. Obviously, Oregon at Purdue. That's the Friday night game.
That's tomorrow night on Fox.
Right. Nebraska at Indiana. That's the 12. That's the big noon Fox game.
Nope.
Wisconsin at Northwestern.
Nope.
UCLA Rutgers.
Absolutely not.
Michigan at Illinois, you might think about it.
Well,
CBS
it's the top
has
25,
it. But
CBS
CBS
has the
has
CBS 3:30 game.
USC at Maryland, no. So that leaves you Iowa, Michigan State.
Well, I mean, I would think, does NBC have a shot in 2 weeks to land Ohio State at Penn State on November 2nd? I mean, that's the marquee game of all, in my opinion. You got 2 unbeaten, or you got Ohio State and Penn State's unbeaten, 2 top 10 teams. That's November 2nd. I mean, I would imagine that's the one they all want, right?
Sure. I mean, count back for me, Brock. I know that Fox gets the first pick the last week because they get Ohio State, Michigan. Yeah. So then if you're going every third week, it's different. If you count
back, how that works?
Yeah, if you count back 3 weeks from that, then that's when Fox would have the first pick again.
Which would be week 11.
Okay. And that's who's in that week. That would be the
Maryland at Oregon.
Okay.
Washington at Penn State. Purdue at Ohio State.
So if you're going in rhythm, then Fox is out of the equation. Now you're down to either CBS or NBC of who gets that week.
Iowa's at UCLA that Friday night.
Yeah, none of those matter. But we know that's not the week that Fox is going to have the first pick.
Well, the second best game may very well be, depending on how they play between here and there, is Indiana at Michigan State.
Potentially.
I would think one of them. I mean, that sends to me
November
the message
3rd,
that Michigan State could play Indiana at 3:30.
That's one of those, I think, niche interest games of like, oh, well, I don't know much about Indiana. Maybe I want to watch them. You don't have the huge base that's going to be following.
But why would
Hoosiers.
CBS want that game if Michigan State possibly loses to both Iowa and Michigan, and that's 5 straight losses?
Yeah, they wouldn't, for sure. I mean, unless you want the opponent and the draw they're going to give you, and other than curiosity, I don't think you're going to get that out of Indiana.
And no matter what Indiana's record is, they're not a big TV draw in football.
No, they just don't have the audience.
They just don't have the audience.
They're the third biggest school as far as football following goes in their own state, and that's not a very big state.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's to me, that smells like noon all over. All right, now Michigan State's people are all griping. They don't want any more night games, but they don't really do. They have any influence whatsoever on how these kick times are. I see Alan Haller's got a huge letter today to the community. I mean, I can tell you from interviewing him on our tailgate shows, when the president, Kevin Guskowitz, comes, he wants no part of night games at home. Luana Simon wanted no part of night games at home. But the way the thing works, the networks make the 100% call, correct?
So here's what I think Michigan State feels a little miffed about. That, remember last year, they acquiesced to NBC to get the game moved to Ford Field against Penn State and helped out the network that way.
They did.
They haven't gotten any kind of payback from that yet. And they're looking around saying, well, look, we helped you guys out. Can't you help us out on something like that? And nobody's really seeing it fall on anything but deaf ears. And I think right now they thought they would get a little bit more of a play back from that. Now, again, that's one network too. So is NBC going to move one of these games to Peacock when they're on? Possibly. Maybe that would have been a deal that, all right, look, if we give you the Friday night game, you got to give us one that we can determine a schedule for next year. And maybe the Iowa game would have moved back to a noon this week. But that would have been about the only quid pro quo I can think of with it. But the problem is, again, you got so many mouths to feed and only a limited number of places you can put them. So that's, I think, a big reason why the Friday games have come in. You just don't have enough space now. You've got 9 games you got to play every week. How are you going to fit in where everyone's going to see them all the time? There's overlap all the time now, and they don't want overlap. They want to get as many individual games as they can and keep your eyeballs from noon to 11 o'clock at night if they can do it.
And you remember the old media deal. What was it? There was a deadline in October that Big Ten schools could host night games.
It was daylight savings time.
It was daylight savings time. Okay, now, so I thought, okay, so NBC's got this deal. If they... I mean, it stands to reason. If you have a night game in November in a Big Ten Midwest area, you're going to have issues, I think, depending on who it is, with attendance, because people aren't going to sit out in that cold. But if you do take those games on the West Coast with a 3-hour time difference, that's a 4:30 game at either Oregon, Washington, UCLA, or Southern Cal. So does it make sense? I don't know if this is written into the thing in November. You got to pick one of those 4 schools for the November primetime Saturday night NBC game on the East Coast, because you could play them 4:30 on the West, or is that no factor whatsoever?
Well, because it's a new deal, I think NBC is really showing that they've got more power than you think that they have for the Big Ten. Because remember the Notre Dame deal, which has been around for a long time.
And they just renewed it in the last year, didn't they?
They did. It was last year. They renewed it, and it's going to go for a few more years. That was Jack Swarbrick's parting shot to everybody is, I'm going to go out the door and I'm going to extend the deal for you. As soon as daylight savings time hits in Indiana, when they observed it, those games went from 3:30 kicks every week at home to a 2:30 kick.
Right.
And they moved it back. So they actually worked with the school. That's not happening with the Big Ten deal. They are dictating the terms rather than working as a partner. And I think that's what you're going to see going forward, that if you had the existing deal, we'll honor that. But if we created a new one, this is going to go our favor and our favor only.
But I would think NBC would want in November if you can get either an Oregon or a Southern Cal home game, because they're both good teams.
Sure.
You got Southern Cal in the L.A. market. UCLA, no, because they don't win. And Washington's just kind of so-so to begin with. But if you could get either Oregon at home, I haven't seen their schedule, or Southern Cal at home in November, does their value in that with NBC. But I don't know what the terminology is of the contract on this media rights deal, because it has to be complicated because there's so many parties involved.
You don't want a game with a West Coast team falling to Big Ten Network. Because
no, you don't.
It's not showing up in Oregon. It's not showing up in Washington. It's not showing up in California. And your numbers are going to dive because you've only got one team that's really drawing then, because the network just isn't available readily out there yet. They're working on it, but it's not there, which means if you want to get any exposure for them, you got to get them on one of the big three, on Fox, on CBS, or NBC. That's a big problem.
And Dave, this is what, year 2 of like a 6 or a 7 or 8 year deal? How long's the deal? For the combined deal with all the networks?
I don't know if anything changed, Brock, when the teams came in. Yes. Whether there was an adjustment when the other teams were added, that part I don't know.
It's like 2030, something like that.
I wanted to say 2031, but I don't remember exactly where that would be.
Okay.
So, but there had to be some kind of adjustment when you went to 18 teams.
And I'd be curious to know, is CBS and ESPN, are they happy with their new league? Because ESPN got out of the Big Ten and CBS got out of the... I can't believe that CBS is happy being out of the SEC, unless the cost was so prohibitive that we'll take the Big Ten because people watch TV in the Midwest and they do watch college football.
Yeah.
But it ain't the SEC.
No, it's not. I mean, the games aren't the blockbuster every week of the must-see 3:30 game. And last week was pretty good for them with USC and Penn State. That's not bad. But when you're looking at, if they ended up with Wisconsin and Rutgers that week, and there's a potential that could happen, you are never going to see a Mississippi Vanderbilt game at 3:30 on CBS. They always had a better one to pick from.
Easily.
Especially this time of the year. So as far as that goes, I'm sure they're not happy about it. For ESPN, it's consolidating because they've had the rights to the ACC. They've had the rights to the Longhorn Network. They've had stuff that now they can start combining together. Remember, the SEC Network is run by ESPN. So they've found a way to now consolidate all those properties together, and they can cross-promote across platforms. And that makes a big difference, too, that you're not spreading your wealth into different conferences. You're concentrating on one area, and that, I think, is going to work out in the end for them.
But for Michigan State, can Michigan State point to the fact that we are going to lose revenue with your schedule we've had this year because we're not selling the tickets to the... I mean, they haven't had come close to a sellout.
No.
Yeah, with these, you got 5,000 empty seats for Ohio State night game. Now you got homecoming night game, and like I say, we have tickets falling off a ceiling here to give away.
And what's it going to be like for the last two home games in late November? I
mean, Indiana, no matter, they could be undefeated. That thing's going to have thousands of empty seats. Then we get to Purdue Friday night, November 22nd. What amazes me, that game got assigned in the preseason. That game got assigned.
It was in the spring, I think, wasn't it?
It was way early in the year that they announced Purdue, Michigan State, Friday night, November 22nd. Call me crazy. There could be some empty seats for that. And then the Thanksgiving weekend with everybody gone, and you got Rutgers. And now that won't be a noon game because it won't go up against Michigan, Ohio State. Right? So that, I don't know. So it's got to be at about 4 o'clock. I would think is Michigan State.
3:30 is the window, yeah.
3:30, 4, whatever. Well, if it's the Big Ten Network, they can push it to 4, though, can't they?
There will be a noon Big Ten game that day, but it will not be anybody who's got an overlapping fan base. You'll never see Michigan State and Michigan playing at the same time on that weekend when the Ohio State game happens.
Yeah, they'll have enough problems as it is drawing anybody. I'd be curious to know whatever Michigan State budgets for football home ticket revenue, what it budgets, and what it's going to end up this year. I wonder what the difference will be.
Remember that the change now, though, is, yes, the ticket revenue is the one thing you don't share with other schools. Everything else is an equal portion out of the pot. So you're getting the major portion of your budget right now from TV money. The supplemental money right now is what you're bringing in through the gates, and you don't have to share that with anybody else. So if you draw $40,000 versus $70,000, that's just money that you missed out on that you're not going to get from somebody else. But you're also not sharing $10,000 of that with the visiting school unless you're bringing them in as an opponent as a non-conference game. So what you want to maximize your ticket sales for is the money that you don't send back to the conference. I think that's a much smaller portion than it ever used to be. When you look at what TV revenue used to be in the Big Ten and what you look at now, this is a much bigger chunk that's going to media rights. So as far as that goes, yeah, it's going to affect it. But because of the other big numbers in there, I don't think percentage-wise it affects your budget as much as you would think.
Before you go, so Haller's letter that he just sent to the community, He says we're factoring in increased scholarship numbers, revenue sharing, and a reduction in NCAA funds. It's going to include approximately $25 to $30 million more in additional expenses because everybody's got to come up with this to pay these players under this new arrangement. You got to come up with another 25 and State's already in debt as it is.
Yep.
They got to find another 25 to 30 million. And they all say they're not going to cut sports, but numbers are what they are. Where is the 25 to 30? And it's got to be an issue at every other school at the same time, correct?
It has to be. And, I know you don't have time for all of this, but I've told you before, the Big Ten, to make this work financially, has to go to 24 teams. And it's got to be divided up then into 4 6-team mini conferences that are in there.
Well, and I think they're going to have to go to more conference games. They got to have better games.
At least 10.
That would bring you to 10.
This is going to have to change if you're going to cover that much revenue that you don't have at the moment. You've never had to pay. Ayani's been bringing this up every Monday for years. He says they are going to have to go with this House settlement on this lawsuit against the NCAA. But what I'm curious to see is how many counter lawsuits against this and where is all that money. If State has to pay athletes $22 million a year, who gets it?
That's a very good question. Whether that's going to be from each to his ability, to each to his need, I doubt it.
Who gets it?
Yeah.
Stay tuned. All right, we'll talk to you on Tuesday after the Windsor game to get the recap on. Where are you Saturday? Where are you?
I don't get to go any place this weekend. I'm actually working volleyball for Big Ten Network on Friday and Sunday, and I will be sitting in the stats booth at Spartan Stadium this weekend. So my car is taking a well-deserved rest after its oil change that it really needed.
Yeah, Dave, I asked Greg Arney this question, and I'll ask you this. You think both Boston College and Michigan State are happy with the split last weekend, considering the quality of competition both ways?
At this point of the year,
I wouldn't
probably.
think Boston College is.
They would have preferred the sweep.
They had to believe they can sweep them.
After the first night, you would think so, but every team that wins Friday night...
And they had the lead the second night.
Every team that wins Friday night, you're disappointed with the split.
Okay.
And they were up 3-2.
Because Greg said, I think both teams are happy with a split.
I don't think Boston College is.
Good resilience for Michigan State, and to make the comeback in the second period and hold on in the third, that's a good sign moving forward.
All right. We always appreciate it when Dave shares his expertise on a variety of topics with us. What say you? Culligan Water Hotline is 342-63 to the top of the hour. Who gets 2 good tickets to Michigan State, Iowa Saturday night? This is the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports. A high five to Dewey Brampson's 3 great area restaurants of different offerings. Beggar's Banquet, Abbott Road, East Lansing, off the main strip. A superstar in the area since 1973. Great happy hours from 4 to 6 Monday through Friday with a wonderful wine and beer list. Great for private parties. The Nut House, downtown Lansing, across from the ballpark. Michigan Avenue. Any great gathering is there for you before or after big events. And the Harrison Roadhouse, Michigan and Harrison in East Lansing. A bustling bar and grill with hearty pub grub and a whole lot more. Those are the great 3 from Dewey Brampson. The prestigious Abood Law Firm has offices in East Lansing and Birmingham and has been around since 1956. 332-5900, Abbott and Saginaw in East Lansing. Abood Law understands it's essential to get an attorney involved in your legal issues as early as possible. If you're dealing with legal problems, contact Andrew Abood and his great staff at Abood Law in East Lansing immediately, and you'll get the help that you need and can depend on. Abood Law, we heartily endorse Andrew Abood Law, 332-5900. Candy Ford in Charlotte, the home of the greatest deals on wheels. They've had that slogan for years and years, and it just keeps getting better every single day. John Dykstra says it's worth the drive, okay? Down I-69 from the Lansing area to Charlotte to see the deals they have for you. They'll get you the best deal you can possibly find on a Ford vehicle, new or used. And if trucks are your thing, okay, Candy Ford is home of the greatest Ford trucks that there are available. You're always ahead whenever you choose Candy Ford. Worth the drive to Charlotte for sure. There's never an off day at Royal Scott Golf and Bowl just west of the airport. Sign up now for indoor golf leagues. Same with bowling for all levels of ability. Book your parties, gatherings, special occasions at any time. And remember, Royal Scott Golf and Bowl is affordable for everyone. What a jewel for more than 50 years in our community. Thousands have enjoyed it, okay? Royal Scott Golf and Bowl. And you can too. Fun for the whole family to be sure. Check out now all the great ways you can enjoy Royal Scott Golf and Bowl.
This is the Lansing Sports Network Minute from the Lansing Sports Network News Desk.
I'm Steve Geoff. The Detroit Pistons hosted Cleveland last night, and Simone Fontecchio was only too happy to welcome them to town.
Drive, kick, left side Fontecchio three, of course.
It's just 7-point play, right?
7 points on that trip for Simone Fontecchio. Bellissimo.
Thanks to the Pistons radio network for the call, Pistons finish the preseason atop the Central at 3-2 and begin their regular season next Wednesday at home against Indiana. The 21st-ranked MSU women's soccer team is in action tonight at DeMartin Stadium as they face Wisconsin at 7 in the first of their final 3 home games of the season. From the studios of the Lansing Sports Network, powered by Sparky's Electric, I'm Steve Geoff.
Find more and stay up to date at LansingSportsNetwork.com. or in the Lansing Sports Network app.
You always have a great time at Scott Berman's One North Kitchen and Bar, 5001 West Saginaw, Lansing. It's in the old Reno's West location. Dine-in or curbside service, all the info at onenorthdining.com. Or call 901-5001 for any special event. Open 11 to 11 and then till midnight on Friday and Saturday. A casual and entertainment-based environment where your gathering will have a great time every time. That's One North on West Saginaw in West Lansing.
Does your money need to get a job? You've worked hard for it, and it should work hard for you. Lazy money is just sitting there not earning its keep. If you have lazy money lying around, call McIntosh & Associates, 877-222-8849. You might have lazy money lurking in a savings account at the bank collecting very little interest, or in an old 401k that you haven't checked on in years. Or maybe it's in a CD that could be earning more. Wherever your lazy money is, it's time for it to start earning its keep. The team at McIntosh & Associates can help you find ways to put your money to work. Call them now at 877-222-8849. You could be leaving a lot of money on the table by allowing it to sit on the couch. Get your lazy money a job today. Call 877-222-8849. Investment advisory service is made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
You're not sure your knees can handle 18 holes, but I am.
You can't imagine a morning without pain, but I can.
You've never heard anybody make that sound, but I have.
I'm Dr. Michael Shingles.
Dr. Arjuna Cuddyback.
Dr. Andrew Scorfar.
We've seen it all.
And now you can see us here at University of Michigan Health Sparrow.
Mid-Michigan's nationally recognized orthopedics and sports medicine center.
Learn more and find a highly skilled specialist at ufmhealthsparrow.org/orthopedics.
Dreaming of a fun and affordable getaway? Breeze Airways can take you there. With Breeze Airways, you can fly direct from Lansing's Capital Region International Airport to Fort Myers and Orlando for just $79. What are you waiting for? Go to www.flybreeze.com or download the Breeze app to book your trip. Breeze Airways offers flexible and friendly policies, so you can always travel with peace of mind. Come and see why we were just awarded the 2024 Apex Award for Best Seat Comfort in North America. With Breeze, traveling from Lansing to fun, sunny Florida destinations has never been easier. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
$79 no flex fare promotion is available only when booking a new reservation for LAN, RSW, RSW, LAN, LAN, MCO, and MCO, LAN. Promotion must be purchased by October 31, 2024, 11:59 p.m. ET for travel from September 24, 2024 through February 2, 2025. Price displayed includes taxes and government fees. Fare prices, fare classes, rules, routes, and schedules are subject to change or exemption without notice. Any changes or modifications to qualifying promotional reservations will be subject to fare repricing. The difference in airfare at the current fare price may apply. Other restrictions and blackout dates may apply.
I don't think even I could talk that fast. I mean, that's pretty, that's going a mile a minute to get it all in, right? Let's see, what do we have for you as we roll on here on the Sparrow Stout on Sports? You want to book Christmas parties? Berkshire says we got in Williamston, Berkshire in for any holiday party planning, 655-4694, or on the west side at Royal Scott Golf and Bowl. Okay, you can book party times now and anything that goes with them and play golf at both places. It's going to be a great weekend to play golf. You can play play the Emerald north of St. John's, where Jay and Katie Eccleton say, come on by for any special occasion. We'd love to have you at the Emerald. You got Michigan State's Forest Acres Complex all year round in a variety of different ways. And then don't forget as well, as we roll on here, Dusty's has got the tremendous wine opportunities in October. See for yourself. The best wine buys anywhere at Dusty's is this time of the year, or for a casual dining reservation in the wine cellar. Dusty's, Grand River Avenue, Okemos at 349-5150.
From Comerica Park to Jackson Field, we've got the sports opinions that matter to you. From the Driven Collision Studios, we make friends by accident. On the Game, 7:30 a.m.
On the go from the Driven Collision Studios here at WVFN Radio. Brock says the Culligan Water hotline is all lit up. As we get all of the calls lined up here toward the top of the hour, we'll remind you, Friday Night Frenzy on Channel 10 tomorrow night, 11:15. We'll have all the high school football results of Week 8 of the key games. The Friday night game of the week is the same game we're broadcasting here on WVFN. Lansing Sexton is at undefeated Portland. Okay, that's the big game tomorrow night. There are others, of course, of note in the area. And then next week, Brock doesn't know what game is going to be broadcast. There are a couple of opportunities for big games in Week 9 to end the regular season. When we find that out early next week, obviously, then we will pass that on. Also, tonight we have Red Wings hockey. The Red Wings are home tonight against the New York Rangers. It's the second of the two games back-to-back, okay? The two games back-to-back that Red Wings played at New York against the Rangers Monday night, losing 4-1, and that knocked the Red Wings back to 1-2 on the season. They played tonight, and Brock thinks that's some kind of a national telecast that maybe Bally's does not have in any way. Tomorrow is our You Pick'em Day, okay? Michigan State and Iowa tomorrow, right? You'll pick the score, first come, first serve, and then after the score comes in, we'll discuss whatever. And we also have a number of guests that we're visiting with tomorrow. Tim is in Lansing. He's up next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Tim.
How you doing?
Good. What's up?
Well, I heard you talking about ESPN, and I quit watching them so long ago. I remember when you used to be able to watch Australian rules football. They would actually show sports, and now that's all they do is talk. And
yeah.
It's like, this is ridiculous. It's like, I don't need to hear your opinion on this over and over and over again. I'd rather watch cornhole tournaments.
I'm amazed that they believe that the vast number of talking heads that they use, especially early in the day, is going to draw them audience separate, as you suggest, from other type of sports competition. I agree with that completely.
That's all I had to say.
There you go. Thanks, Tim. Ray's and Oldies next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Ray.
How you doing?
Good. What's up?
First thing I thought about Sunday when I saw Hutchinson go down was Joe Theismann, that thing that happened to him, the broken leg back in '85 or whatever. And I thought that just doesn't look good when he ended up doing that.
Well, he's back in Michigan, and his doctors claim that he will make a full recovery. The Lions do not have any kind of a timetable on that, and they're very evasive because with an injury, as you suggest, as severe as he suffered, trying to predict exactly how that's going to play out remains to be seen. I mean, obviously coming up against a red-hot team like the Vikings Sunday, will his absence be noted definitively or subtly or not? Okay, apparently listening to them this week, they've got a couple of Band-Aid players that they've figured out they're going to add in that position. But whether or not they're going to make some kind of a big offer somewhere else to somebody to try to fill in as best they can for him in the remaining, because there are a lot of games to go. I mean, they got 12 games left. They've only played 5, and there are 12 to go, and they've already had their bye week. So stay tuned on that, right?
Yeah, for sure. The cornerbacks can look really good when you're rushing the quarterback. But I've always contended, if you give an NFL quarterback a lot of time, that they're usually going to find an open guy. And so that's what makes him so valuable, is after the quarterback so quick, and you don't give him a lot of time to throw.
Yeah, we'll find out. Thanks, Ray. I told Brock, I said, I don't think the Lions can beat the Vikings had they've lost Jared Goff, or anybody else for that matter. But if they lose Aiden Hutchinson, I'll be interested to see how does that change, their outcome in games moving forward. And they're going to get 12 chances to look and see. I mean, after this game, they play Tennessee at home. I mean, Brock, you can go play defensive end against Tennessee.
Okay, no, I couldn't.
No, I think you could.
No, I couldn't.
No, I think we pad you up, and I think the Lions can beat the Tennessee Titans at home. Call me crazy after the game with the Vikings. If the Vikings beat the Lions, Brock, and put them 2 games, if you just got done telling us in the first hour about the best team in the NFL, well, I don't argue with any of that other than the question, are they the best team in their division? Because like Brock says, 4 teams in the NFC North all could make the playoffs.
All would, as of today, they would all make the playoffs right now. 1 division winner, which would be Minnesota, and then the 3 wildcard teams, Lions, Packers, and Bears in that order.
So I
Which
think
would just be crazy.
And
if
I
that
think
happened.
almost all of the road games the Lions play, even Indianapolis late in the season, I don't think any of those are necessarily lock wins. I think Tennessee's as close to what it gets, and Tennessee will play in Ford Field. And it would, if Goff's in there, then look out, because you're going to have to stop him. Although watching the clips of the game with the Cowboys, Brock, I looked at Dallas, the defensive line. I said, did they ever?
Well, Tim, they've got a lot of their defensive guys out
No
due to
kidding.
injury.
I certainly, for their sake, hope so. Yeah. I mean, I get that the Lions' offensive line is highly regarded.
Yes.
But some of those guys, you could have run through some of those holes.
There were some of those holes, I think maybe I could have got a couple of yards.
You would have got through. I don't know if you would have fumbled upon. I mean, you could have had maybe a sliding stop 7 yards back down the field.
Maybe. Ryan Brem is 1 under par through 6 holes at the Shriners Invitational in Las Vegas right now, tied for 28th.
First round.
First round, yep. This is Thursday.
These are the
round.
PGA events where most of the stars don't take part. This is the Shriners Children's Open in Las Vegas.
TPC Summerlin, Las Vegas, Nevada.
So, but there's a long way to go to the cut tomorrow, late in the day after 36 holes.
Yep.
One final timeout. Let's take that. We're giving away a pair of tickets to Michigan State, Iowa. At the end of the hour, which is coming up in about 16 minutes. Okay, you can join us on the Culligan Water Hotline. Might be your day, and they're good tickets too. $342.63. It's the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports. Our friend Val Orlando has done so well with City Limits in Mason, right? Well, he also has an all-state insurance agency that you hear us talk about all the time. He has a new location now with same great service. Stop in and say hello. The new all-state office next to the Secretary of State's office on Cedar Street and College Road, just off 127. Call for information on all-state insurance options at Val Orlando's agency at 969-5300. That's 969-5300. Val Orlando's Allstate Insurance. The Emerald, one of the great public golf courses in all of Michigan, just north of St. John's. You make your plans for 2024 now. You want your outing at the Emerald for 2024. Choose the Emerald for your next special golf event and let their staff show you what a golf outing is about at 224-6287. And the Emerald is a great place to host your social events, from intimate gatherings to parties and receptions. Jay and Katie Eccleton will take good care of whatever you want any time of the year at the Emerald.
Hey, there's Matt Rhodes here at Dusty's Cellar. It's Michael Patrick Shields with Fuzzy Math, as you know. I'm here for my October 6 for $66 wine club, and this looks like there's a little trick-or-treat headed our way.
Yes, Michael, as a thank you to all of our loyal wine club members, we're offering 7 for $66 for the month of October, and you get to choose your 7th bottle, being red, white, or rosé.
Do you have to be a member of the club to get the 7 bottles for $66?
You do not. This is a thank you to all our existing club members and for those who'd like to join the club.
Hey, that's a very nice invitation. So no cost to join the club, no ongoing commitments, discounts on everything you buy, wine, beer, all of it.
That's right. You got it, Michael.
I'm in for a club pack, and I think I'm going to get a gift card for a business client. How can they get redeemed?
That's the nice thing about our gift cards. They can be redeemed in the cellar, wine bar, or the tap room. Very versatile.
Oh, so they can go in the store or come on in for a drink or have dinner or lunch and that sort of thing, too. And you can join me and Matt Rhodes at Dusty's Cellar. It's on Grand River in Okemos and online at dustycellar.com.
Cheers, Michael Patrick.
Does your business struggle with poor cell service inside the building? Poor cell signal in the place of work can create communication problems with internal staff and outside clients. The Antenna Men are cell signal pros. They've provided solutions to clients all over Michigan, and they'll provide solutions to help your staff be more productive in a great way. Cell Signal Pros also has solutions for homeowners as well. Go to the Antenna Men and Cell Signal Pros. Google the company. It's great in many different ways. Michigan Plumbing, a leading provider of plumbing, drain cleaning, and water heater services to homeowners in the mid-Michigan area. And you can get an expert in your home free for an evaluation. Call 322-2994. 24/7 emergency plumbing and drain services for the entire mid-Michigan area. All home plumbing emergencies, all makes and models of equipment. What a great company it is. Michigan Plumbing. And they're right when they say we exceed your expectations. See for yourself. Michigan Plumbing today. If you're thinking about home renovation or adding or changing a deck at your home, you want Custom Built in Okemos. For more than 15 years, Custom Built Design and Remodeling has been the leading full-service design, build, remodeling company in mid-Michigan, and owner Michael Flory has built it from the ground up over the years. If you're curious about what the difference between a general contractor and a design build company is, you got to Google Custom Built in Okemos to see all they can do for you. We swear by Custom Built in Okemos, a great renovation company. Yeah, Michael Flory's Custom Build is great, and so is Mike Heinze's Antenna Men out of Eaton Rapids. You're sick of paying all those cable bills, and get Antenna Men. It puts a system on your house. You got more than 60 channels free. It's a tremendous, tremendous system. Believe me. He's got Cell Signal Pro, Cell Signal Service, which is so inconsistent. He'll fix that for you. Antenna Men and Cell Signal Pros. You go Google and see for yourself.
It's always game time.
Game on! Game on!
We're the game, 7:30 a.m.
On we go from the Driven Collision Studios here at WVFN Radio. You know what's weird to me, Brock? Every football season, at the end of the year, they say, well, maybe in the off season, this committee will take up this rule change, this committee will take up, then that'll go to the next committee, and on it goes. Well, this last weekend, Oregon legitimately and deliberately used a 12-man penalty on the field to help beat Ohio State, admitted that they took advantage of the loophole. So the NCAA 3 days later closed the loophole used by Oregon to shave time off the game clock at the end of the win over Ohio State. The NCAA announced yesterday, I didn't know you could do this, they've issued a new rules interpretation of how to handle a penalty for 12 players on the field in the final 2 minutes of either half. If the defense has 12 players actively participate in the down, the offense can choose, along with the 5-yard penalty, to have the game clock reset to the time that had been displayed at the snap. I don't know why that wasn't part of the rule in the first place.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because I'll bet this has happened elsewhere.
Oh, probably.
It says no time change would be made if there were 12 players, but one of them was attempting to leave the field and did not affect the play, okay? This was an issue because it cost Ohio State clock time.
4 or 5 seconds, right?
They took that, they wanted to shorten the clock so that Ohio State would not have time for extra plays to get into field goal position to perhaps kick a winning field goal on the final play at Oregon. This ploy will no longer work going forward. The NCAA football secretary rules editor Steve Shaw says in a statement that the NCAA was looking this week to take away any gain for the defense from committing an intentional penalty. So but what my question is if you can change a rule like that just because it didn't feel good one Saturday to the next Saturday, why does it take some of these other rule changes like targeting and all that, which to me is a massively controversial rule?
Yeah.
I claim targeting clearly affects the outcome of games only in its inconsistency. Everybody looks at these targeting plays, and half people say, no, it shouldn't be, and everybody else says, yes, it should be, and nobody tends to agree hardly at all on targeting. I think that's still a huge issue. I have other issues here, emails that have come in. Let's see. Tim, to keep me as a season tickets holder, 20-team Big Ten, one conference original Big Ten team, other conference original 10 SEC teams. Play all teams in your conference, 2 in the other conference, and 1 team of your choice. After 40 years of season tickets, I would enjoy going to watch all the big teams. I totally agree with that. I mean, I just think that if you want to keep people buying season tickets, to use a local example, you got to get rid of the games with Florida Atlantic and Prairie View A&M. Lyle in Lansing is on the Thursday Sparrow Stout on Sports. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't know if anybody's mentioned it or not. I've been detained here, so to speak. This Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, there's a video out of like Stephen A. Smith and a couple of these other guys just absolutely leveling the rest of the players, that they're not protecting her, and I think they're right. I think that the WNBA is going to take a hit if they don't straight up and, it's just a foul fest. I watched some of that game last night. My goodness, and they don't call anything, and it seems like they'd want to protect the Golden Goose. Have you seen that?
No, because I don't watch the WNBA. Frankly, I watched Caitlin Clark's first game as a pro, and then I don't follow the NBA. So how am I going to follow the WNBA? Plus, the fact to me, she's got marketability. No question about that. All you have to do is look at the television numbers. With her out of the playoffs, they just shrunk by like 2/3, which doesn't surprise.
It seems like the rest of them players would, instead of being vindictive towards her, they would be welcoming her.
Well,
now they've got charter flights and stuff. I don't understand that. I don't understand that thinking at all.
I do. I think there are a lot of,
They're jealous of the publicity she gets.
Well, you tell me, do you think there's any kind of a racial issue involved here in any way,
It's been brought up before.
Form?
It's been brought up before.
I won't say there is. I'll ask you, do you think in any way, shape, or form involving anyone in any way, there could be some kind of a racial thought involved with all of this? You can answer that for yourself.
One of her opponents, I would be glad to. I would not be roughing her up.
The argument that comes
the Golden Goose.
The argument that comes in support of that theory is what the NBA was like when Michael Jordan joined the league. And when he joined the league, everything skyrocketed. The amount of revenue available to pay players, television rights, attendance at games.
Even more so than when
they weren't knocking his block off.
No,
either.
The point being that the NBA players welcomed Michael Jordan to the league because of how it helped. It's like adding Tiger Woods to the PGA Tour. Look how the growth came from one player. The growth in the NBA came. No, there were more than one, but they say Jordan was the one, obviously, that triggered the biggest.
Well, after Magic and Bird.
So why isn't that going to be the case? But you know what? That WNBA league, look, I'm not the one to comment on it in any way. They play it during the summer when I don't watch. Well, collegiately, I watched her all the time. Because collegiately, when she was at Iowa, she was readily available.
Well, you wanted her to come back for her last year this coming season.
Well, as a fan, as a spectator, would I rather watch Iowa play here December 15th with her or without her? Yeah. Call me crazy. I'd rather watch her play. Right?
Exactly. No, I can't say no question.
It seemed to me that she handled all of the eyeballs on her well, and I think, frankly, in hindsight, it's just as well she didn't make the Olympic team, because then you had all the international media on her in Paris, and she doesn't need any more.
It's going to be wild in L.A. in 3 years, assuming she's healthy and keeps getting better.
Yeah, but 3 years down the road, I don't think her impact is going to be what it was this year because of what happened to her collegiately. And by the way, if the numbers went down on the WNBA on TV without her, are the numbers on college women's basketball going to be affected without her?
We're going to find out, won't we?
We got Juju to watch, and she's in our conference now.
You do, but I'll be curious to see. I'll just say I'll be curious to see, because to me, if the numbers went down significantly in the WNBA, the consistency is hard to get when you have some numbers in anything that are significantly high or low. Consistency is hard to find. I'll be curious to see. Well, let's just take the Big Ten Network. When they show women's college basketball this season, before everybody tells me how the growth of the sport's fantastic, well, she's not there anymore. So now let's see how it is without her. Is someone else going to pick up the slack or not? Like Brock says, stay tuned.
It might be Juju Watkins, the great. She's a sophomore now at USC. She's terrific, and Paige Beckers too.
Enough of this drivel. You got to go rake leaves. I know you do.
No, but Thursday's an enormously busy day in a variety of different ways, and all that. I mean, the television numbers. I'll be curious to see what the television numbers are on baseball. Because it sounds as if the numbers on the playoffs so far have not been that spectacular. Even though you've got the Mets and the Dodgers and the Yankees, you got 3 big market teams out of the 4 left. But do you feel my problem with any kind of a buzz is there's only 1 or 2 players that the public identifies with who are left. You can say there are other good players. That's all fine. All right. But who do they identify with? Besides Ohtani and Judge, who do they identify with? Any Mets? No.
Lindor and Pete Alonso to a degree.
But you have to be a legitimate baseball fan.
Sure.
To know who those guys are.
Who's going to get a massive contract this offseason.
But the bigger deal is he's part of the Yankees. So, I mean, everybody knows who the Yankees are and who the Dodgers are. That's why I'm sure. So if you have those two are the top of the line in baseball and they make the World Series, let's see how the thing plays out in terms of that. I just think the NFL is it's a television cancer to all the other sports at this time of the year because the NFL dominates. I mean, college still gets its share, but its share doesn't really rival the NFL in any way, shape, or form. I can't believe we are already out of time. Who got the Michigan State tickets for the Iowa game?
Tim and Lansing.
So there you go. Tomorrow's our You Pick 'em day. First come, first served. Okay, first come, first served. What else do we have tomorrow? Do we have any more? I don't know if we have any more.
Pair.
Oh, we have one more pair.
One more pair we'll give away tomorrow, and we'll get a lot of calls tomorrow.
So tomorrow, first come, first serve. A guaranteed winner on all the You Pick 'em shows. I'll see you on Channel 10 at 6:20. I think Fred's got the late tonight. There's a lot going on today. And again, we got Red Wings hockey tonight. Is that on WJIM AM 1240? Brock says 7:30 is puck drop, not 7:05.
It was. It got moved back because it's a national broadcast on ESPN Plus on the internet. And here on WVFN at 7:30, Denver Broncos at the New Orleans Saints in the NFL. NFL Thursday Night Football.
All right. We've got ESPN radio programming coming up next. Huge is live today, 3 to 6 at Michigan State Men's Basketball Media Day. Kind of takes care of all that for us in 2 shows into 1. You've been listening to the Sparrow Stout on Sports on Lansing Sports Station, the game 7:30 a.m., the home of the local sports shows and programming in the area. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the sun. Be safe. For Brock, I'm Tim, and we will talk to you tomorrow at 10:05. So long.
I'm Will Tiemann, and welcome to the Michigan Sports Brief for Thursday, October the 17th, brought to you by Frank & Muth Insurance. Start a frank conversation about your insurance with one of our local independent agents by visiting fmins.com. Saturday in Champaign, Illinois, 24th-ranked Michigan returns to action against 22nd-ranked Illinois. More on that after this.
Just like your favorite sports team, you need a solid defense to protect your home and business. Whether you're tackling unexpected accidents, fouls, or fumbles, Allaby and Brubaker and Michigan-based Frank & Muth Insurance are on your team. Visit Allaby and Brubaker today at abins.com. That's abins.com.
Michigan coach Sharon Moore took a moment this week to break down the Wolverines' upcoming game, a road trip at Illinois.
Coach Bielema just does an outstanding job building a program, physicality, toughness, detail in what they do offensively. Luke Ottomeyer, the quarterback, he's gotten so much better. He just progressed from last year to this year. You can see him being in the system for another year. And they've got skill guys all over the place with the receivers and the 2 backs, really good. And then defensively, tough physical front. You know, they've mixed up the coverages in these past games. Physical defense, and we've got to be ready for that challenge.
For Illinois, this game is a very special event. It is a rededication game at their stadium, coming 100 years and 1 day after Memorial Stadium's initial dedication. By the way, which was a win over Michigan on October 18th, 1924. Illini coach Brett Bielema talked this week about preparing his team for the Wolverines.
The one thing that just resoundingly keeps coming back is the way that we prepare is the way that we play, right? And the moments that we put these guys in, I think during practice, I spend a lot of time. So Michigan is a very scripted football team. They play very, very good football. They're sound fundamentally, offensively, defense, special teams. Their offense has been on the field for 74% of their snaps have been early downs, and their defense 77% of their downs, right? So the large part of the game, 75% of the game is played on early downs. So we got to learn to play like that. So I think the thing that gives our guys the moment to have those things to be successful is they've been prepared, they've been put in that position, they visualize it, and also a little bit of some of the pain of the past, right? So some of our number one season goal this year was remember the past, prepare for the future, and I think literally every week that comes up.
The Michigan Sports Brief is brought to you by Frankenmuth Insurance. Find one of our local independent agents by visiting fmins.com.